This is a Miami Sports Music Podcast Network production. This is the #1 Miami fan morning show. Clock Blockers, let's go.
I know the whole city riding. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter column. Whole squad been trained to go. Phins for life, we throw the foe. Singing this just to welcome bro. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time.
Three things I'm convinced tonight. Jahmyr Gibbs will be drafted tonight in the first round.
And select Jahmyr Gibbs, running back, Alabama.
There'll be over 3 trades. I think it's even likely you could see 4 or 5 trades. And somebody will trade into the last pick.
With the 31st pick of the 2023 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Felix Enrique Uzama.
You my man, Daryl. Don't even worry about this stuff. You know good and well it ain't. I know that. All right, Carl. Okay. I appreciate you though, man. Let's go on back to your spot.
Yes.
Man, let me tell you, last night, boy, I was ready. I was ready for that last pick. I was ready for it to come in. And it didn't. It didn't, man. I was so upset. And I had to do a last-minute audit on the edit of that video. I was ready, though. I was like, I got 2 of the 3. And then I realized 2 picks from it. I'm like, I said, Kansas City's got the last pick. There's no way they're trading out of that pick when they're in Kansas City and there's 100,000 people there. I was like, how could I have a take and not even realize that? Well, can't win them all. Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. Good morning, y'all. What is up? To be perfectly honest, it's been crazy the last 12 hours, 24 hours for me. Personal life, this stuff, getting ready for today. That's why we're late this morning, because we got a mega day for you on the channel. I mean, humongous day on the channel for you. It's going to be awesome, amazing. And we're gonna be doing it all day today. It's gonna be so much fun. So I'm excited about it. It's Spread Kindness Friday. It's Spread Kindness Friday. That's right. Spread Kindness Friday's in the building. My favorite day of the week. We're going to have a good time today. I hope y'all are enjoying everything. It's, man, let's go. Let's go. Steve has the script. I do, Walt Dog, man. I was ready for it today. I was ready for it. All right, let me bring in my co-host for the day. Actually, let me do the rundown real quick, and then I'll bring my co-host in for the day. Guys, if you don't know, my name is Stephen D. You can follow me on all social media at Stephen D SKPL. Spread kindness, positivity, and love. You can also follow Miami Sports Music everywhere at Miami Sports Music, except on Twitter, where we are at MIA Sports Music. Make sure on your way in, you guys hit that like button. Already 70 of y'all in the room this morning. Thank y'all. I appreciate it, man. We're going to have a great time on the show today. Great time on the show today. It's going to be awesome. So make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, okay? Seriously, subscribe. We want to get the subscribers up. We want to get those likes up. It helps. If you guys want to donate to the or sign up to become a member of the channel, lots of different ways you can do it. But actually, there's one way you can become a member, and that is by hitting the subscribe button. If you look in the description below, you will see a link to become a member of the, y'all ready for it, the people that are here every day? Family. That's right. Make sure you sign up today. Become member of the family. There's plenty of seats waiting for you at the table. We'd love to can we get 3 new members to the channel today? I think we can get 3 new members this morning and maybe 3 or 4 new members tonight. Let's go. Let's do it today, y'all. I like it. Hit the like button, sign up to become a member. Okay. Now, if you want to help the channel grow by donating, there's lots of different ways you can do that. The first way is you can use the YouTube Live Super Chat, which is the $ below the bottom of the chat. You can also use Cash App or PayPal. And as I adjust my camera here, so I don't have my dirty room that's in the background there. Make sure you guys sign up to become a member today and help the channel grow by donating. There's another way that you can help the channel grow by donating. You can use Cash App, which is $MSM Podcast Network, or PayPal, which is also MSM Podcast Network. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Want to give a big shout out to our sponsors of the show today, ZSM Sports. ZSM Sports. It's in the game. No, make sure you follow ZSM Sports today. Cards, jerseys, balls, and hard-to-find items. Zachary at ZSM Sports has all your unique, awesome autographs to the world of Miami Dolphins players and even other players in the professional rankings and college rankings. So make sure you guys check out ZSM Sports today. It's awesome. Tail Greeter, download the app today on your current Apple or Android devices. That's right. Download the app today on your current Apple or Android devices and get access to the best tailgates in the country. That's right. It's only a click away. Make sure you go to Tail Greeter on your Apple or Samsung or Android. Download the app. It's free. It doesn't cost anything, and you're ready to go. All right. Without further ado, it is draft 1 day recap we're going to talk about, and obviously what we're going to do today for the Miami Dolphins. A lot of stuff to get to. We're going to bring in the co-host of Spread Kindness Friday, my brother from another mother, the man who's going to be hanging out all day with me, actually, Mr. Jason Sarney.
Morning, everybody. I'll tell you what's not in this cup of coffee: mayonnaise. You don't put mayonnaise in coffee, or else you fall out of the first round.
That's why he dropped out of the first round, bro.
Forget
you don't put coffee and mayonnaise.
Or combine. It's condiments. It's condiments.
Coffee and mayonnaise.
Don't put mayonnaise in coffee. Out of here.
Put mayonnaise. Who puts mayonnaise in coffee? I've never heard that ever.
Psychotics. And people who can't throw 15-yard outs.
Couldn't believe he dropped yesterday. We're going to get into all that today. First of all, good morning. Did you see that video? It looked like that was the first time you had seen that video I had made this morning.
I'm getting increasingly impressed with your editorial master.
I am trying to incorporate new avenues of our beautiful home that we have here that is Miami sports music. And yeah, man, I think we got some good stuff. I'm hoping to come out with a video later on today of stuff that we recap today on the show. So I got content for the folks. I am working literally in this. I am sitting in this chair probably till midnight tonight. Okay. I told my wife, I said, look, I am out of pocket for the rest of the day. Don't have the kids bother me. Okay. This is work. It's work today. And it's going to be crazy today. So we got a big day ahead of us. Caslin says, hey, I put butter in my coffee. Actually, let me say hello to the people in the chat first, because you all decided to take time out of your beautiful day to come in and join the family and the party today. So thank you for the $2 donation, Kaz. And I've never put butter in coffee. That's very interesting. Finn Daddy Big Dougie B says, I'll be at the Cubs and Marlins game tonight, but I will try to watch you all tonight too. Finn Daddy Big Dougie B, you're going to miss a good one. Make sure you do it. It's going to be awesome. Andravia says, guys, please remove yourself. All right, let me say hello to everybody in the chat. Who was the first person in today? Let's see who the first person in today was. It was Flava J. Flava J was the number one person to hit the chat up today. That's always, for some reason, it's a thing that the people in the chat like. Who was first today? Who was first? Who's the person that was first today? Well, Flava J was first on the scene today. So let's go. Fins up. Good morning, family. Shout out to Flava J. Trucker Sean's in the building. Marino's GOAT. Lakers all day. Dope. Big game tonight, bruh. Big game tonight. The game starts right as like that. The third round should be coming to an end. So not only will I be up for the NFL draft, I got to stay up and watch LeBron. So yeah, I'm with you, Lakers, all day. It's big day, buddy. Big day. Mark K says, good morning, Steven. We're going to get into who we're going to get today. It's going to be good. Anthony Manzano, level 2 new. B McD is in the building. Thank you for being a member, B McD. Sebastian Probert. What is up, Sebastian? Who else we got up in here? Flipside Fishing is in the building. I just want to make
You got
sure.
a crude this
Trucker
morning,
Sean,
Steven.
Trucker Sean says he's in Brooklyn and he's got to go to the bathroom in traffic. That's never a good thing, Trucker Sean. Man,
You'd think he'd know how to manage the bladder.
You would think that this should be a thing that a trucker knows. I would agree with you, man. Walt Dog is in the building. Who else is up in here? 716 Dolphin. Like it. Let's see here. Steve V is in the building for a show called Clock Blockers. I almost did it to myself. The man doesn't even have a watch. You're right, Steve. I'm out here working for you, Steve. Okay? That's all right. Walt Dog says Steve is the go. I appreciate it, man. I will probably be late to my own funeral. You're probably correct about that, Caslin. You are probably 100% correct about that. Adam Sadowski is in the building. Trick Dawson, the OG sugar daddy. Every time I see that, all I can think of is like, Sugar Bear. Come here, Sugar Bear. Look. I think of like the 1970 movies. That's all.
You know what, Steven? You would be a phenomenal voiceover actor.
I've tried to do that.
You got to get yourself on like the cartoons. You'd be a phenomenal voiceover actor.
Well, you're making me blush. Don't do that because
you'd be a phenomenal voiceover actor.
Right. Blush. This is a sports show, right? But all right, everybody, close your eyes or close your eyes. Listen to my voice. EA Sports. It's in the game. Does that now sound like the guy who does it? EA Sports. It's in the game.
I like it.
I got it, man. I got it down pat. I don't care what y'all say. Let's see here. B McD. Pete's Take is in the building. Let's see. Steven thinks those were original takes. They were original takes, noob. Thank you very much. Wayne D Experience, Mark K. Got Buffalo Bills fans in the building today. Shout out to y'all. I hate that y'all picked who y'all picked.
That was, you know what? That was a savage move, thinking that the Cowboys were going to go tight end, which they did not. Maybe Kincaid was their guy, but
they said psych.
But did you see the video of Kincaid getting the phone call?
He sounded disappointed.
Number one, they were fishing for the Buffalo hat. It looked like they had 31 hats there.
They had 31 hats, but didn't have the Buffalo Bills hat because they knew Buffalo. There's no way Buffalo's going to draft us.
I love listening to voice tone on, Kincaid was like, yeah, excited. he was so not excited. And I just thought that was pretty funny.
With the chat of the day so far, Cowboys somehow managed to Jets their draft.
The Jets jetted their draft, man. I'll tell you.
We're going to get into all of it this morning, man. Stevie says, Phins up. Steven, you're great. I appreciate it, man. Scar 305 says it just needs to be a little bit deeper. EA Sports. It's in the game. See, I got it. You give me direction and tone. I can get you there. Okay. The Tecmo Super Bowl is in Steven's voice. Bro, I used to play that game like no other. That was my game, cuz the Tecmo Bowl. You used to get Bo Jackson. Come on, man. All day. All right. Let's get into it, man. Last night was it was a star-studded fest. 100,000 people in Kansas City, Jason. I've been to 2 NFL drafts in New York City. And I've enjoyed both of them. Absolutely amazing. The scene there last night in Kansas City was unreal, right? Unreal.
Not only was it unreal, I thought that I was at like one of the best weddings of my life with the music in the background. It was a party. They threw Eminem on for the Detroit Lions pick. They were coordinating with the teams and the colors of the music. It seemed it was a party. It must have been really probably one of the top 2 or 3 venues that they've had. They've had a number since New York City, but I think that they knocked it out of the park. And I really wish that I was there, regardless of the Phins not getting into the first round.
I mean, yeah, it was absolutely insane. Pete's Take says, Steven, are you staying live the entire time until the draft? No, are you crazy? No, I'm doing the show this morning. I'm editing some video, uploading some video for y'all later. And then we got the live draft party tonight at 7 p.m. Want to remind y'all about that. That's right. Check it out, guys. We are going to have live tonight at some point in time, starting at 7 p.m. We're going to have people from the Phins tailgate. We're going to have TD Phins Talk stopping by for a couple of minutes. We're going to crash Dudley Do-Wrong's live stream. We're going to do a cross stream for a couple of minutes. That's going to be fun. We're going to have Nikki Smokes getting on the phone with us. Nando Talk's going to hang out with us for a little bit. And then obviously Jason Sarney's going to be with us. East 32 Dolphins tailgate. Cameron's going to be co-hosting. We got Go Time Dolphins from across the hey mates from across the pond. They're going to be hanging out with us.
Late. Late.
I know, man. Dolphins United's going to be here. Finn Attic Fury, Larry K. Phins Nation with Lewis Sung. 5 Reasons Sports is going to be in the building. Locked on Canes, Mr. Alex Dono. The Touchdown with Doug Smith. We got Dolphins Talk, Big E, Mike O. Phins Take with CB83. We got the ladies in the building. 305 Sports Babe, Dolph Freaky, Miss Phins. We got the Fin, and we even got a lot of new people to the community. We got Phins Talk Sports Network, Miami Fan Talk Network, and we got Dolphins Gang, and we got a couple of other people that are also going to be hopefully joining us, including Paul Pickin. Hopefully he can get with us towards the end of the night. So,
great group of great people.
Let me tell you, putting this thing together was interesting, and I had to like break it down into color codes and like, okay, this person's in this time block, this person's in this time block. It's going to be crazy tonight. But I'm excited. And the reason that I'm doing it is, for me, I'm all about inclusion, and I'm all about, I think everybody, if this is what you want to do, start it up, do it, man. And yes, so what? There's 30 different Dolphins YouTubers now. I think that if that's something that they want to pursue, that they should pursue it, and it's up to the listener or the viewer to see if they like them or not, or if it's for them. And so I'm all about inclusion, and I want the community to know that, look, there's no gatekeeping here, and there's not 1 or 2 people that are great in the community and everybody else sucks. No, we all have something to offer in the community, and I want everybody to get an opportunity on one platform to be like, hey, this is who I am. This is what we do. This is what I think we're going to do tonight, and kind of give everybody a chance to meet all these people if they've never heard of them before. So I'm excited, man. I am just super excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And it's not all at one time too, right? So I broke it down. It's going to be a rotation of people, and it's going to be 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and then we'll go to the next crew. And it's going to be, it's going to be awesome. That don't mean that some YouTubers in the community don't suck. LOL. Look,
is that a double negative?
It was a little bit.
I'm trying to decipher what that means. That means
what I am saying is, just real quick, and then we'll get back into last night's draft. Everybody has there's something out there there's Baskin and Robbins has 31 flavors. Well, so does Dolphins YouTubers. All right. And there is something for everybody.
I'll give you another one. I'll give you a metaphorical kind of analogy here. I love doing that. Imagine being in the ocean and fighting over a little bit more space with someone that you're swimming near. There is so much room to do your own thing here, and so many people that you can have in your corner who go to other spots, look at their content, look at your content. The more the merrier. With such a good future and a good present right now for the Dolphins, bring it on, man. This is the time to promote, to talk about this team. And inclusion is always better than exclusion.
I agree with that, which is why we're doing it.
There's no room. Come on, Travius. There's always room for Dolphins content.
Not according to one YouTuber. I ain't fitting in the
Let's
name.
talk NFL draft, Steve.
Let's talk NFL draft. Okay, look. Last night was crazy. And it was crazy right at the beginning. Number one, why are we taking 10 minutes to make a pick that we know? We knew what the number 1 pick was. They knew what the number 1 pick was, and they still did their 10 minutes on the clock. Explain to me why they took 10 minutes last night, Jason, to make that pick.
Commercial television blocks.
I was so upset.
commercial blocks for television. That's why.
Dude, we've been waiting all day. I don't need to wait anymore.
Because when they plan this, they have their timings for when they go in and they go out. And then if they would have just, thrown I'm speculating kind of, but they are not going to rush this process. They have inventory of commercials. They have inventory of this and that and the other thing that they want to get in. So, yeah, I mean, when you get into picks 5, 12, 14, whatever, and they want to run up the ticket, different story. But I don't think you're really going to have many more situations ever where first overall picks are just going to say, screw it, I'm not taking the time, run the card up. They're going to take this time. I don't care.
All right, so the Carolina Panthers were sitting at number 1, and they got Bryce Young, quarterback out of Alabama. What did you think of the pick for the Carolina Panthers? And let me ask you, is he the best quarterback of this draft class?
Listen, a quarterback question like that, it might be answered in a couple of years, but I thought it was a fine pick, the right pick. I thought that Houston did the right thing by getting a quarterback that they needed to. They needed to get a quarterback and get out of this draft. So
you mean Carolina? We're on Carolina. We're going to get this Houston in a second because they got.
We're going to stick with Carolina. Look, do you throw him in right away? I think he's the kind of player. Who else?
I think we did. We looked yesterday. We're like, who's going to play in Carolina? Nobody. So it's him. Bryce Young has to, in my opinion, probably start day 1 there because there's nobody else. There was nobody else there in Carolina to start, in my opinion. So I think he has to start day 1. And I don't know if I'm an advocate of that or not. I think if you understand the expectation as the fan base, as the front office, even as the player, you need to sit down with them and say, hey, look, we're probably not going to be good this year, right? But here's what we're going to do this year. We're going to stick by you 100%, and we're going to learn on the fly. And that's how we're going to do it this year. And I don't care if we go 1-15 or 3-13. There's this quarterback named Peyton Manning. Maybe you've heard of him. And he went 3-13 his first year. So
threw a lot of interceptions. Right. And so, I think if teams had more patience like that, I think that, and understanding what they're trying to do, Carolina just needs to have patience, and their fans do too. So I think it's a good pick for them, and I think it was the right pick. Now, number 2 was Houston. Knew they were probably going quarterback, right? They weren't going to stay with Davis Mills as much as they might like him, or at least put on paper, or say out loud that they do. They had to go with a quarterback at the number 2 overall pick. And Ohio State's quarterback CJ Stroud was there for the taking, and that was awesome. Except right after that, the Arizona Cardinals were there, but there was a trade. And it was the Houston Texans giving up their 12th pick that they had already had, okay? Because they had 2 picks in the first round already. So they gave up their 12th pick, plus the second round this year, plus the first round next year, and a second round next year for the number 3 overall pick, which was edge rusher Will Anderson out of Alabama. So tell me about these 2 picks and them double dipping in the top 3 going back to back. Crazy move. It was a great move because they came in with the most amount of picks. They needed a quarterback, and they got arguably a top 2 or 3 defensive player in the draft, maybe even the best one if you want to take away, Jalen Carter. But I think that it was a phenomenal move for a team that's got a new coach, a new culture, new identity, and really, you hit a home run. I mean, you get 2 top 3 picks. Come on. I mean, on paper, it's phenomenal. They just got to translate it to the field. And they still have a full draft left. They have tons of opportunity left. Very, very good start.
Carlos with the $10 donation. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate the donation. He says, good morning, Stephen D. AR picked by Indy will be a bust. I'm a UF alumni. He has accuracy issues. Go Phins and Gators. Also, AR has only 13 college starts. We're going to get to Anthony Richardson here in a second, but yes, I agree with you. Hey, let me ask you, let me just finish up and then we'll go back to the Anthony Richardson. Did Houston give up too much to go back to back?
No. When you have that, look, they gave up a lot, and Arizona came out very well. But trades really are, in my mind, if you could just be mutually beneficial for the team. It's dependent on what
They
these
gave
teams
up
need at
a
that moment.
first and a second rounder for the next 2 years for the number 3 overall pick. It was
They gave
definitely
up
it was a
lot.
draft day movie trade.
Oh,
Okay.
100%. But what they did was they immediately got, 2 years worth of first top 2 overall value within 1 year, and they didn't cut off their nose to spite their face with their future because they still have plenty of inventory left. I'm not dead on familiar with their exact amount of picks left in the next couple of years, but they made some really terrific moves here, and I think that they're still fine for this year, and they didn't empty their chest, so to speak. But Arizona got a good haul.
Caslin with the $5 donation says, thank you, Kaz. Carolina was a decent team last year. They got their quarterback. I can see them making the playoffs. They almost made the playoffs last year. It's a very valid point, and maybe Bryce Young is the guy to do it. All right, let's go to the Anthony Richardson, as Carlos with his $10 donation talked about. He only has 13 starts in college. He played at Florida. Indianapolis decided to make him the future, and everybody, including us, all this week, we're predicting there's no way that Levy or Levi, whatever you want to call him, there's no way that he drops past Indy because Irsay loves him. False. I think we were all wrong. I think we were all surprised. And I'm glad I didn't make that as one of my 3 predictions, because it would have been definitely an easy be like, there's no way Will's going to pass. No, Indy's going to take Will. Nope, it didn't happen. And was very surprised with the Anthony Richardson draft from Indy. What do you think about it?
I mean, I wasn't surprised where I was like, I don't have so much stock in the culture. I cared enough to be surprised, but I remember watching a couple of Gator games, and I was just very impressed with the athleticism, of course, from Richardson. He made some really phenomenal throws. If he could be kind of like a Cam Newton for the Colts for a couple of years, it might work for them. But I don't know if he has the overall quarterback throwing ability. He's got the athleticism and 10 times over. But I don't think you throw him in there right away. I mean, they got Gardner Minshew or something, right? So I think you let him rock in the start of the year. But 50-50 on whether he's going to be that Cam Newton.
I'll be honest with you. I would probably agree with Carlos. I believe that he'll be a bust with only 13 starts. There was a quarterback that had very few starts in college. It was a little bit more than 13, but he was a converted wide receiver to quarterback. Maybe you remember him. He played for our team. His name was Ryan Tannehill. And, there's some, people might say he was a bust. Maybe he was, maybe he was. He's played how many years in the NFL now and has made umpteen millions of dollars. But, I think the Anthony Richardson one for Indy, I scratched my head because I think they gambled a lot on Anthony. They are gambling pretty much the next 5 years of their future on one quarterback who has 13 games. That's it. And it's a high risk. It's not even really a high reward. It's a high risk.
Well, I mean, if he plays with that athleticism and it doesn't, affect health, and he can mix in good throws, good quarterback play with that athleticism, like a Lamar Jackson, like a Cam Newton, will he reach that? I don't necessarily think so, but that's the thought, and that's the goal if you're the Colts. And indoor stadium, kind of a cakewalk division at the moment. It's not the worst plan, but
it's not the worst, but it ain't the best either. All right, let's keep on going. We're not going to go through every single pick in the first round, and I know I want to talk. There was a lot of things that happened which allowed the Dolphins to be looking with googly eyes today with, oh my God, look who we have for us. So let's get into some of these, and then we're going to be able to talk about who's there for the ripe taking for us later on this evening.
Sure.
All right. So, Devin Witherspoon goes number 5 to Seattle. Arizona Cardinals go Paris Johnson. Offensive tackle, I think that was a reach for them. I feel like they could have traded back, still got Paris Johnson. I don't necessarily like the pick at number 6. I'm not saying Paris is going to be a bust or a bad player. I'm just saying, like, that's a reach at number 6 for him. And I think you could have easily moved back and got somebody different, right? Las Vegas Raiders got the edge rusher from Texas Tech, Tyree Wilson. And then number 8, Atlanta Falcons get Bijan Robinson, the star player of the draft for most people, a lot of people, at least at the running back position. Tell me what you think about Bijan in Atlanta with Desmond Ridder.
I mean,
And
he must have been.
And Taylor Heineke.
I mean, the quarterbacks must have been thrilled because you have a runner who could be a slot receiver, and you could just give him the ball and just watch and then put your arm up. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you need. Early, top 10 for a running back. I think the last top 10 running back was Saquon Barkley. Yep. But this is a really creative pick that could be a home run. And I think they bottom out at an RBI double. You know, I think they bottom out as a very solid pick. I don't think this is anywhere near bust territory. Let's see how they build the rest of their team. They got a long way to go, but Falcons are going to have a number 1 fantasy player on their roster that people are going to love drafting early because he's going to be a PPR gold.
He will be one of the top players in fantasy football, if not the number 1 overall pick in most.
Hey, I'm glad that he goes to a team that I have absolutely no care that I could just enjoy his ability.
Yes,
you know, I mean,
he'll be fun to watch.
Dolphin fans care about the Falcons. Let's watch.
They know. Carlos with another $5 donation. Dude, I love it. I appreciate it, man. It's helping the channel grow. Thank you. Anthony Richardson does not put air under the ball and throws fastballs. You're right. Anthony Richardson might have been a better pitcher than a quarterback. Look, here's the thing. Only time will tell, Carlos. And I think that at the end of the day, we got to wait a couple of years to see if it works out or not. So we're going to have to, the book is out on him, and we'll have to wait to see how that goes. All right. Number 9. There was a very familiar thing throughout this draft that happened with us a few years back that changed the course of our franchise in a bong mask. And his name was Laramie Tunzel. And for some reason, whatever it might be, that kept on being repeated last night with a guy by the name of Jalen Carter, the defensive tackle out of Georgia. For all intents and purposes, people said he is the best talent in the draft. I would say a lot of people would say that, but off the field issues made him drop to number 9 in the draft, and the Philadelphia Eagles got him. And by the way, I think there was not a better fit for the Philadelphia Eagles at number 9. Kudos to them for getting into the top 10, right? They got, they were in the Super Bowl. They get a top 10 pick, and they arguably maybe get the best player in the draft. Philadelphia are huge winners last night, and I think it was such a huge pick for them. And by the way, you know how I say look, a high risk for Anthony Richardson? This is low risk, high reward because they were in the Super Bowl anyway. So this was huge, the Jalen Carter move to Philadelphia.
When you really think about their body of work in the first round, I mean, Howie Roseman is probably the best general manager at the moment. I mean, I think he's the king of GMs at the exact moment, because when you think about a team that lost in the Super Bowl, who just extended their quarterback to the second richest quarterback deal, they have 2 unbelievable wide receiver weapons. And now 40% of their defense are championship winning college defenders from the University of Georgia, which has become the defensive version of Alabama as a whole recently. So what you have is the defending NFC champions getting arguably the best defensive player on the board. And then later, as someone indicated, Nolan Smith to put continuity with last year's, help me out, Jordan Carter, Jordan Evans or something like that.
Yep. Jordan, I know who you're talking about.
I'm escaping me.
I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Jordan Davis.
Jordan Davis. Yep.
And then Nakobe Dean. So to have 4 Georgia Bulldogs now flying into Philly together in a year or two, you have such continuity with those guys, and that's going to trickle down on their defense. And I thought that was probably the A++ team of the draft. The Eagles. I live here in Philly.
Carter to go because if Jalen Carter screws up, Philly's not too upset about wasting a top pick on them because they were in the Super Bowl last year. He's and if he turns out to be everything they turn him out to be, Philly gets, for all intents and purposes, the next 10 years, one of the best players in the NFL.
They would have gotten an A if they didn't have that, top 10 pick, which was Carter, and they just stole Smith. So they get literally an A++ for the first round if you're grading them out from a Super Bowl team that just got remarkably better.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. By the way, I want to remind you all, this upcoming season, the Miami Dolphins are facing the Philadelphia Eagles. That'll be a very interesting matchup, and it'll be in Philadelphia. And Tail Greeter and Miami Sports Music are hosting the Philly Invasion right in Philadelphia. We're going to have a meet and greet the night before, and we're going to have a tailgate the morning of. So if you want to come to that and you're going to go to the game, it's going to be good times. It's going to be good times. And I'm excited about it. And I know Philly gets a bad beat for their fans, but if we're going to have a great time. We have got it all planned out. We're in a safe environment. It's close to the stadium. It's going to be good. It's going to be good time. So the Philly Invasion, Philadelphia, Miami Sports Music Tail Greeter, and we'll have more information on that hopefully in the next month. So that'll be good. Be on the lookout for that. All right. Let's scroll down a little bit. 10, Darnell Wright went to the Chicago Bears, offensive tackle. Thought that was a great pick for them. And then Peter Skrunkowski, again, another reach, right? I didn't think he'd go 11 at all. Went to the Tennessee Titans.
He's got NFL pedigrees. His grandfather was a Packer with Vince Lombardi.
Yep.
So he's got good bloodlines. That might go a little bit,
I mean, look, Tennessee definitely that again is, to me, that's 2 picks in the top 11 that they could have easily gotten in the mid first round, right? And so that's what I think. But again, if you like somebody and you're in love with somebody, go get them if that's the guy you want. And then number 12. Number 12 broke a lot of Dolphins fans' hearts.
Not mine.
A lot of Dolphins fans' hearts were aching, breaking hearts last night when the Detroit Lions picked Jamar Gibbs. Jamar Gibbs, running back out of Alabama, got picked up by the Detroit Lions at number 12. What do you think about that? By the way, only the second time in like the last 7 years that 2 running backs have been in the first round. In fact, I think maybe even 10. 2013 might have been the last time, right? Or it was 2013 or 2017, one of those two. But yeah, Gibbs goes at number 12. What did you think of that?
Detroit had a good amount of picks. They I think arguably they got their guy in Gibbs, and then they later did that with Jack Campbell. They probably could have gotten each of those guys maybe 10 picks later, but give them credit for sticking to their guns and getting their guys. And Gibbs was someone who wanted, or everyone wanted Gibbs in Miami. There were rumors, which they were definitely smoke signals. Everybody, listen. Let me just implore.
Look, Jameer. I'm sorry, I said Jamar. Jameer Gibbs. You guys know I'm bad.
Let me just hat in hand, almost just beg to people. They were never going to trade into the first round that high or anything that would have given up too much assets for a running back. If a running back is going to be acquired, brought in, trade for, drafted, it's going to be economically sound. So we'll talk about what's going to happen maybe June 1st, a little bit later in the show, because that's all economics in terms of Dolphins, Vikings, running back, so on and so forth. In terms of Gibbs, it might have been just some great smoke signals to have a running back drafted early. So this creates kind of the domino effect that the Dolphins are one of the teams that love how this board is materializing, because you got 20 picks to go until your first selection of the draft, and arguably 5 tight ends that you'd accept, 4 offensive linemen that you'd accept, and there's going to be a quarterback taken probably in Will Levis. There's going to be more wide receivers and maybe, a couple of other positions like defensive linemen and linebackers taken. So the Dolphins, I think, without doing an absolute single solitary thing, because of Gibbs getting drafted so early where they didn't have to talk about trading into the 20s or whatever, I think that they won without even lifting a finger. And you could say that Bradley Chubb was their first round pick last night. And when you look at picks 21 or the picks that they traded for him, who are you missing? This is phenomenal.
It was Detroit, by the way, along with Houston, A+ winners last night, right?
I'm going to give Detroit A-.
I'm
going to give them a B+ that could
Really?
go to an A once we see what these guys do on the field. And I know that sounds ridiculous because that's really what everything is, but they potentially got.
I think they had an A or at worst an A- night.
I think that they potentially hit it out of the
by
park.
the way, we'll come back to number 13, but them getting the two people that Dolphins wanted to potentially trade up in the draft last night. That at least all I heard on Twitter. Okay, the fans. Go get Jack Campbell. Go get Jahmyr Gibbs. Go do it. Go do it. Go do it. Detroit broke some Dolphins fans' hearts last night.
Maybe Dan Campbell forgot to unfollow everybody when he.
Dan Campbell knew. He knew. Dan Campbell was still following us and said, "Oh, these Dolphin fans, they know something. Cuz let me go get Campbell and Gibbs, and let me just make myself a team assembled by Miami Dolphins fans, and let me see how it works out." Okay.
As for Campbell, after the combine, I said, all right, this guy's a top 40, maybe first rounder. So I kind of lost that ability for the Dolphins to realistically bring him in unless they were going to do a trade. But again, this is not what they are going to do and make a trade and lose assets. So yeah, 18 was rather high. I thought he was going to be like 25, 26 to a contender, but the Lions are going to be a team to be reckoned with in the NFC. The NFC's weak, so the Lions are one of those teams that can kind of creep up.
Hey, PJ Mack brings up a very decent point. Detroit, he believes Detroit will trade Swift for sure. They replaced Williams with Montgomery in free agency. No point in having 3 potentially starting running backs. I don't know if they do trade them. I really don't. I think that they have the 3-headed monster, and maybe at the middle of the year, if a team needs a running back and they need something, maybe that's somewhere where they can do a trade in the middle of the year. But I would venture to guess, and this isn't a hot take or anything, but I think it would behoove them to keep them in training camp, keep them week 1, see how the first few weeks of the year play out. And if a team needs a running back desperately, they call up Detroit and say, "What do y'all need? What can we give you? We need one of your running backs. Which one do you want to give up?"
Yeah. I mean, look, again, this day and age, having 2 or 3 capable runners, that's the formula. It's a passing league. Yeah. So you could have running backs that specialize in getting split out into the slot and helping out in the receiving aspects of the game. And then you could have, your situational runners. So I think that look what the Dolphins are doing right now and what they may do. So you're right. If in training camp, a running back goes down a value and someone calls Detroit, they'll be fine if they flip one.
All right. Number 13 was originally the New York Jets. Obviously, there was a trade involving some aging quarterback earlier in the week. I forget his name. I don't know him. He's got gray hair, and Jet fans seem to be in uproar about him. But anyways, they ended up trading with the Green Bay Packers for that quarterback, and they flipped it. And so the Packers ended up taking edge rusher out of Iowa, Lucas Van Ness. I thought that was a good pick. I think you would agree with that too. It blosters up that defense and is able to help contain somebody like Justin Fields that's in that division, and also, give a good pass rush to Kirk Cousins, who's also in that division. So I think it was good. I think it was good for them. Number 14, thought for sure Joey Porter Jr. is going here.
He's going to be the first pick of the second. He's going to be the first pick today.
We're gonna get to that. But I thought for sure, I was like, "Yep, Joey Porter's going to Pittsburgh. Joey Porter Jr. is going to Pittsburgh."
Just book it.
And they ended up getting offensive tackle Broderick Jones. Which, look, anytime you can get an offensive tackle, you take it, right? Like if you're going to go best player available. But I'll be honest with you, I was very surprised Pittsburgh did go in this particular case there, because I thought they were going Joey Porter Jr., and I was wrong about that. And then the Jets had Will McDonald, an edge rusher, out of Iowa State.
I celebrated that pick.
So
I'll tell you why.
Tell me about those 3 picks real quick before we keep on going down. What do you think about all those 3 briefly?
Van Ness, good player, good motor, perfect for Green Bay right now. Broderick Jones, a dog, great blocker, and fits right into what the Steelers need. As for the Jets pick, and this is just my philosophy here, you bring in Aaron Rodgers. He had been mad with Green Bay for only drafting defensive players or Jordan Love. He's got a 1 or 2 year window. You're 4 picks from a 4 straight wide receiver run. You got every tight end on the board, and they don't help him.
By the way, Zay Flowers is there for the
and you don't
for the
help
taking.
Aaron Rodgers worth a blood nickel.
They could have got Darnell Washington. They could have got Zay Flowers.
Aaron Rodgers another weapon and say, "Oh, by the way, welcome to New York. Here's your apartment gift." Like how
an edge
dumb
rusher. Bro, did you not hear me for the last 5 years when I've been screaming at the Packers for not getting me an offensive a weapon in the draft? I come here and what do? You don't give me an offensive weapon. It's like I'm in Green Bay, except the taxes are higher and New York's a worse state. Come on, man.
And the Jets defense is rather good to begin with. And you know what? I don't care. Good thing he went to a New York, New Jersey team with jumping over cars. So if he ever gets stuck in the Lincoln or the Holland Tunnel, he'll be able to get the practice in time.
We're not saying that the Jets don't have more weapons than Green Bay currently does. What we're saying is
it was the wrong pick.
They were on. Look, they wanted to get Odell. They apparently were in the DeAndre Hopkins situation. And maybe that's true. They could be getting DeAndre Hopkins. If that happens, then we're wrong. And this was a great pick, right?
Sure.
But if they don't get DeAndre Hopkins and they had a chance to get Zay Flowers, I think it's a bad pick. Yeah, it's a bad pick for the Jets, and I'm not trying.
I thought it was a reach.
Yeah. All right. That's just our opinion on it. Okay. You don't have to agree with it. Okay. We just think
they're lucky this draft wasn't in Radio City.
Suck. Hey, matter of fact, if you all think that the Jets suck right now, hit the like button. Hit the like button if you think the Jets suck. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull it up on the screen. Let me see how many likes come up from that. Let's go. If you think the Jets suck, hit the like button right now. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. Just tap it. Just tap the like button, guys. Okay. Next up was Emmanuel Forbes, cornerback out of Mississippi State. My wife's from Mississippi, so Mississippi State came off the board. She went to Mississippi State. Maroon white. He came off the board, thought it was a good pick for Washington. The New England Patriots there were at 17. By the way, does New England trade back every draft? Because they went from 14 to 17, and I feel like they trade back in every draft, and it's a pretty smart move by Belichick. I just want to say that there. But what did you think about Christian Gonzalez going to the Patriots real quick?
It was a great pick. It was a great pick. Very, very, very tall ball hawky kind of corner. You have a lot of weapons in the AFC East. You have the Dolphins wide receivers. You have Diggs. You have Garrett Wilson. You got the those jet weapons. So yeah, unfortunately, they made a phenomenal pick.
Yeah, they did. They did. Detroit Lions, we already said, got Jack Campbell. Again, Detroit Lions breaking some Miami Dolphins fans' hearts last night.
But another situation where I could root for Campbell and be happy. It kind of was a heartbreaker, but I was prepared. I was prepared.
All right. 19 was Tampa Bay. Cansey out of Pittsburgh. Thought it was a good pick. He's a North Miami product. I think he went to. Did he go to Northwestern, Miami of North, High of North?
Not for sure.
I know he went. He's in South Florida. He's a South Florida guy, and he gets to stay in the state of Florida. And his family was very happy. He got to go play with Tampa. So shout outs to him. Congratulations to him. Seattle Seahawks getting Jackson Smith. I'm not going to try to say his last name because I'll butcher it, and you guys know that I'm good at butchering names. Wide receiver, Ohio State. I think Geno Smith was very happy with that pick. But again, Zay Flowers was there, who was the better wide receiver. I think Zay Flowers was the best wide receiver of the draft, and he wasn't the first wide receiver taking. And then, by the way, and there were two. So we'll talk about this. There were 4 wide receivers picked back to back to back to back. Jackson Smith out of Ohio State, Quentin Johnson out of TCU went to the Chargers. Zay Flowers out of Boston College went to the Baltimore Ravens. I know Lamar loved that pick. And then
Everybody was happy with that pick.
Jordan Addison, wide receiver out of USC, went to the Minnesota Vikings. What did you think of those 4 wide receivers going in a row? By the way, it's never happened in the NFL before where they've had 4 wide receivers go in the first round back to back to back to back.
Yeah, no, the surprise was, as you referenced, Zay Flowers was probably a lot of people's wide receiver 1. But I feel like each of these picks were really, really good for the team, because you have now in Seattle's situation, they just drafted a very capable third target. The Chargers have a second or third target. You know, the Zay Flowers now is your secondary target to Odell Beckham Jr. and Jordan Addison is not going to be running with Justin Jefferson. So I think these were really, really smart picks by each and every one of those teams. And it's just the preference. I mean, obviously Seattle had their pick of the lot, and this was their top receiver on their board, clearly.
Hey, I'll say this. Geno Smith, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, and Kirk Cousins are all happier quarterbacks this morning.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
All happier quarterbacks. Okay, number 24 was Deonte Banks out of Maryland. I've seen this kid play being in Maryland here. Kid's good. Kid is good. I will go as far to say he might be one of the best defensive players in the draft, period. And New York Giants got a stud. He might give Sauce Gardner a run for his money as the best secondary person in New York next year. Look, I don't think he will be, but I think he'll give him a run for his money. And Deonte Banks, watch out. This kid's going to be really, really good. Like him a lot. All right, the Buffalo Jills. Buffalo Jills with the 25th overall pick tight end out of Utah, Dalton Kincaid, who not even Dolphins fans, the rest of the NFL was kind of, saying, was he really happy to be picked by Buffalo last night? And they couldn't find his hat. And let me ask you, what do you think about Kincaid going to Buffalo?
I feel like when the 4 receivers went, that kind of maybe hurt Buffalo if they were looking for more targets for Allen. And then to leapfrog a team that was rumored to be going, tight end. And I think somebody mentioned in the chat room, yeah, of course, when that happens, it'll throw the Cowboys room in a tizzy.
Thank you, Amicus. I appreciate it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. And then, you leap over a team that is rumored to take a tight end. And then the name, it wasn't like a shock to me. I mean, it could have been Mayer, it could have been Musgrave, Kincaid. I think Darnell Washington is getting a little overhyped. I think he's a top 50 pick for sure. But Kincaid is their preference. They're going to match him up with Knox and Diggs. And
he was so let's get something straight. He was not the best tight end available on the board. And I would even go as far to say he probably wasn't even in the top 2 or 3 best tight ends that were available.
Here's the thing with that. Here's the thing with these tight ends. It's a deep class, sure. And each of these offenses might need different.
Should he have been the first tight end taken in the draft last night?
Probably not, but
probably not.
I mean, but then you ask yourself, okay, the Bills leapfrog the Cowboys.
They did.
They take Kincaid. So the pick is going to be Michael Mayer or Luke Musgrave because they lost Dalton Schultz, but then they go completely the other way with the defensive tackle and Maisie Smith. Fine pick. I mean, I don't think it's a sexy pick, especially it's like a non-Jerry Jones pick. So no other tight ends were taken in the first round. So does that make
surprising? The Bills... Because remember, we said for the weeks leading up to the draft, you, Nando Talk, me, everybody else that came on this channel, 13 tight ends graded third round or higher. And how many went in the first round? 1. So that means there'll be a lot of tight ends picked tonight.
Oh God, yeah. I think, I mean, I loved the fact that only 1 was taken. And I love the fact that it was a guy who the Dolphins didn't even really have a thought of because it probably just wasn't getting there, you know? So whether he's a tight end, a receiver cut in a tight end mold, you know, he's probably going to be a decent player and help the Bills. But it was surprising to me.
By the way, Amicus, I actually agree with you. He's a Mike Gesicki, right? He is somebody that plays in that slot, and he's not a true tight end. That is the most accurate thing you've ever said, Amicus. I would agree with you. But as far as tight end is concerned, I don't think he was the best tight end given. Now, if they were looking for a playmaker or somebody that could, catch the ball for Josh Allen, then Kincaid was the guy that they wanted, and they stole him from Dak Prescott, because Prescott, I think in Dallas definitely wanted to go get the guy. But I don't think for a second, in my opinion, that he should have been the first tight end taken in the draft. And that's not Buffalo's fault because I thought a tight end would probably go higher. I thought somebody else would go before Kincaid a lot higher. So I don't think it was a great pick. I'm very surprised Kincaid was the first tight end and the only tight end taken last night. If I had to guess, if you had to ask me yesterday, I said, there'll probably be 2 tight ends taken, maybe 3. But no way, just 1. And Kincaid never would have even come close to being the only person I thought would be picked last night. So
to me, if I'm looking at the biggest optimistic wins of what happened for Miami, we're looking at the tight end position and the fact that only 1 went. And we'll get into the second round, but I see a choice between probably tight end 2, 4, and 5 on consensus boards that the Dolphins could have an opportunity at.
It'll be interesting. We'll get into that here in a second. Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. It is Spread Kindness Friday, as it is each and every Friday here on the show. Jason Sarney, myself, Stephen D, we're here hanging out with you, and we got all the first round recap, and we are going to talk day 2 here in a few moments. But I want to remind you all, hit the like button if you haven't done so already. Only 55 likes, 175 of y'all in the building.
I'm gonna make a relative prediction if we're there yet. But we're gonna finish the first round. But then I'm gonna just looking at I'm gonna get to a prediction that I think would behoove the Dolphins.
We're almost done. Just a couple more things. All right, so Mozzie Smith goes to the Cowboys, defensive tackle. Don't think that was the Cowboys person that they necessarily wanted. Anton Harrison goes to Jacksonville. By the way, Jacksonville, I think they got a great deal in getting Harrison, especially with whatever's going to happen with is it Cam? Who's the offensive tackle there that is allegedly going to be Cam Robinson? Is that right? Yeah. So for them to go out and get Harrison, who probably can fill in and it's not going to hurt him at all. I mean, no brainer for Jacksonville there, right?
Well, they were praising this pick. This is a good pick.
It was a great pick for them.
Great pick.
Cincinnati got Miles Murphy, edge rusher, and then Brian Brees, defensive tackle for Clemson. By the way, the last 4 here were edge, defensive tackle, edge.
Played amazingly for Miami.
Yep, and Nolan Smith to the Philadelphia Eagles. Just to recap, I mean, you can say maybe Houston had the best day, but you can definitely say that the Philadelphia Eagles had the best day of the draft. They got championship caliber edge rushers on their team. It was crazy, right, Jason? I mean, absolutely insane.
I live here in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, about 20 miles north of the stadium, and I swear to God, I heard this whole place erupt in an Eagles chant. I mean, they're big. They are a big NFC force to be reckoned with, and they had a phenomenal draft after a Super Bowl appearance.
No, 100%. And then I'm not even going to try to pronounce the Kansas State's Felix, his first name. I got that. I got Felix, okay?
Anaduke Uzama.
Anaduke Uzama. Thank you, Jason. I just want to throw this out there that again, and just to recap, I'm going to play because now we got over 180 people. I'll just play it one more time for the people because I was close last night, man. I was so close to getting it, man. And
Play it again.
I'll play it one more time for the people, and then we'll wrap up with the winners and losers, and then we'll get into the second round.
Predictions.
It'll be good. It'll be good.
It's going to be mental.
3 things I'm convinced tonight. Jahmyr Gibbs will be drafted tonight in the first round.
And select Jahmyr Gibbs, running back, Alabama.
There'll be over 3 trades. I think it's even likely you could see 4 or 5 trades. And somebody will trade into the last pick.
With the 31st pick of the 2023 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Felix and Enrique Uzama.
You my man, Daryl. Don't even worry about this, dog. You know good and hell well that ain't.
I know that.
All right, Carl. Okay. I appreciate you, though, man. Let's go on back to your spot.
Yes.
Man, I was close, man. I was close. Okay?
Winning record.
Hey, if I bat 2 or 3, I
Hall
get
of
in the
Famer.
Hall of Fame with those numbers, right?
Famer, man.
That's a Hall of Famer. I'm batting 666. Okay,
I'll take that.
so I'm there. Okay, look, if it hadn't been in Kansas City, I would have been right. I don't care what y'all say. Okay,
you know, it's funny because once the pick was in, you know, Will Levis probably his heart dropped because that was the time if a quarterback was really going to be wanted to get that 5th-year option.
The only reason it didn't happen is it was in Kansas City.
You know what? Sure, I definitely am with you there. That's a huge reason Kansas City would probably they'd burn the place down if they couldn't celebrate a pick after a Super Bowl. Kidding a little bit.
They had 100,000 people there last night. They were picking last night.
I don't mean to bash Levis, but I mean, if a team wanted to control a quarterback for 5 years and they didn't take that opportunity, oh boy, that says a lot without saying it.
All right, 3 biggest losers last night. My 3 biggest losers are, I'm probably going to go Indianapolis Colts number 1, right? Will Levis or Levi or Levi, however you say his name, is number 2, not even a team. And believe it or not, I'm going to say the Dolphins are number 3 because they didn't have their pick, right? Like they screwed up and didn't get this pick. And
in that regard,
there's a lot of talent that's there. And look, I love my Dolphins, but man, it was tough last night knowing that we could have had one of these guys. There's some really good talent here that could have helped our, team move forward. And so I don't know any other huge losers last night. Maybe the Titans over the Dolphins, right? But they got protection. You can't be mad at a tackle pick. But there were no bigger losers than Will Levi and the Indianapolis Colts, in my opinion.
I mean, definitely Will is falling down this board, and that's money, that's opportunity. I mean, definitely a hit for him and his camp. I really just think that the Jets missed. I mean, look, I'm not Jet bashing just for the sake of Jet bashing. You didn't protect the quarterback. You didn't give him an extra weapon. You didn't give him someone who could do both and a tight end. That is, to me, a missed opportunity. What have you. So I don't want to call them losers, but I think that there was a missed opportunity. To your Dolphins point, oh, man, I mean.
You have to admit that we were losers last night. There's no way you can't say that we weren't.
In a way, shape, or form, if they had the 21st overall pick, you're looking at, prior to the start of the wide receiver run or just at there. So they wouldn't have started that. They might have
got Anton Harrison. We could have got Nolan Smith. We could have got Zay Flowers. We could have got Dalton Kincaid.
Here's how I'm going to look at this. That's wrong.
Not a good one, but
you're not wrong. I mean, this is also a very much glass half full, glass half empty thing. Yeah. So here's how I'm going to look at my glass half full. The Dolphins, despite getting out of the first round via bringing in Bradley Chubb, which is an incomplete grade at the moment. I will grade him when he gets through a full season. Let's see what happens. When you're looking at that aspect, let's call that a wash.
Yep.
But then you're looking at the negative of losing the pick via tampering. Now, despite that, how horrible of a situation are the Dolphins in versus how tolerable of a situation? And I'll use the word tolerable. Wish that we had it, but what could you do? And despite that, I think that they're still in a decent position with the way that the board fell. And we're going to talk about my prediction because it'll wrap into this. But when you get to 51, I think you're going to have your choice of tight end.
Before we get to 51, let's do this. All right, so round 2 here. Okay, a lot of things happened yesterday that we were like, wow, this is very interesting. Number one, only one tight end was taken yesterday. I think that's a big thing, right? A lot of tight ends are going to be taken tonight. Number 2, Will Levi, right? He dropped. He's sitting in that back room still. You feel bad for the kid, right? But the man puts mayonnaise in his coffee. So how bad do we really feel? Right?
Allegedly, but even though if it's allegedly, it's just
allegedly. And then there's Hendon Hooker. There's some really decent interior offensive linemen that are still out there for the taking. It'll be a very interesting round 2 today. First question. Who is the first pick today at 32 overall? And is it getting traded? Do you think it could get traded?
I think that pick is already written on the card, and it's Joey Porter Jr.
Joey Porter Jr.
I mean, I would be shocked. It makes way too much sense. It just makes way too much sense.
So right now, just so you know, the Pittsburgh has 1, Arizona has 2, Detroit Lions have 3, Colts have 4, LA Rams have 5. Okay, so those are the top 5 for the beginning of the round here. Miami Fan Talk Show. Thank you for the $10 donation. Miami Fan Talk Show will be joining us tonight on the panel for a little bit. It'll be fun to hang out with them. 1, Jets getting snubbed for a tackle. 2, Pats not getting their quarterback in Will Levi. And 3, Detroit selecting Campbell. I guess those were his 3 big losers of the night last night. Look, I'll say this. Detroit might have reached maybe, but at the end of the day, they had 2 guys that they loved. And by the way, Miami Dolphin fans, a lot of them wanted those 2 people. And Detroit got them. They broke some Dolphins fans' hearts last night. The Jets not getting a tackle. Yeah, look, not getting an offensive weapon, period, I would say. But I appreciate it, man. I think that's a very interesting. Pat's not getting Will Levi just means that they thought that doesn't mean they won't get him today. You never know. Belichick could easily move up to go get him. I highly doubt it, but it could happen. So, and if they do in the second round and got to get a first round talent, good on them, right? So,
and let me just say that if Will falls to the Dolphins, no. No.
Oh, I love it. All right. So, Joey Porter Jr., you believe, is the first pick of today's draft.
I'd say you put that.
Here's what I think. I'm not saying that that's not a bad prediction. If Pittsburgh stays there, 100% he is. I don't believe Pittsburgh will stay there. I believe that they will get an offer that is too good for the taking, okay? And somebody's going to jump up into that pick and go get Will Levi.
Then Joey Porter goes next to Cardinals.
And that may happen, right? But if Pittsburgh stays there, it's because they're in love with Joey Porter Jr. and they want him and don't care. But if that's the case, then somebody's going to trade with Arizona to go get Will Levi.
Arizona's open.
Arizona actually, if you think about it, is sitting very pretty today. They can take all the phone calls they want. They're sitting there because they know Pittsburgh's not going to get Will Levi. So who wants to come get him? Because Detroit could get him.
I was going to say, I wonder if Detroit just sits there with the third pick.
Detroit is a sneaky pick for Will Levi because or Levis, whatever say his last name. Get away from me.
Levis.
Y'all leave me and my pronunciations alone, people. Will Levis, I believe, at the end of the day, could be a Detroit Lion if nobody trades in those first 2 picks, right? I'm not. Why not, right? Jared Goff, you still get to play another year. Will Levis gets to sit on the bench. You get to learn from Jared Goff, who's been to a Super Bowl before, and has been to the Pro Bowl. I think it'd be a great pick for Detroit. If Detroit did that, that's a pretty good pick, right, for them.
I mean, look, you got
he was projected top 5
guys.
talent.
That would be a good pick for them to sit him behind Goff, not have an emergency situation where you have to plug in the quarterback, and you have 2 very good picks from round 1. That would work.
Can Indianapolis do anything to revive their night last night? What does Indianapolis do with the number 4 overall pick there?
All right. Pop quiz, hot shot.
Okay, I'm ready.
I was very critical of a team who brought in a quarterback and didn't help him. So if you're the Indianapolis Colts and you draft a rookie quarterback in the first round, what are 1 or 2 positions that you must draft to help him out in the second round?
Either interior or offensive line, period, right? Or an offensive weapon.
Sound the alarm. You're right. You get him the best protector available. They have a couple of good weapons. They got some good receivers. They got a running back. You get him the most behemoth. Oh, wait a minute. Wouldn't this be? I'm going to give you a call right now. I'm going to give you a call right now.
Is Steve Avila the pick
no,
here?
No, it's going to be Osiris Torrance. His guard from Florida. Why wouldn't you bring in a guard from Florida?
Okay.
Osiris Torrance.
So you're saying if Indianapolis stays there at the number 4, they're going to. Is that your hot take so far today, Jason?
No, that's my lukewarm take because Luke Oil Stadium. You got it. You see what I did there?
I did. I see what you did there. Way to go. Way to go.
All right. Sound the alarm, Steven. Give me an alarm.
I like it. I ain't mad at you, man. All right. Look, so let's talk about it. Miami's sitting there at 51.
Okay.
Do the Dolphins wait to see what happens with the first 10 picks before they decide to make a decision on what they're going to do? Because you and I are sitting here. Here are some names that I think the Dolphins like. Michael Mayer, who I think will be gone.
Agreed.
Luke Musgrave, who could be there. Steve Avila. I saw Hendon Hooker. The Dolphins don't like Hendon Hooker. They're not drafting him there, just so y'all know. Steve Avila. Darnell Washington. Sam Laporta. John Michael Schmitz, the center out of Minnesota. And Matthew Bergeron, who we all, Nando Talk, me, you, absolutely love. If Bergeron's there, we love Bergeron. Who out of the names that I just listed, is there any one of them where the Dolphins maybe trade up to go get him because they're absolutely in love with them? And by trade up, I mean 6 spots, 7 spots, something of that nature.
This is the question I've been waiting for because this lumps into what call it a prediction, call it a want, an assumption, speculation. To move up, the Dolphins will have to be massively in love with someone, and it's going to cost them too much than I think it would be tolerable this particular year. Next year, they have a first, a second, no third or fourth. So those are valuable assets that they could have used to move up the board this year. Obviously, we know that they only have a second, third, sixth, seventh. So my thought process, if you're going to circle 11 guys that may be available, 10 picks away. So if you get to 41, and you could be very happy with, let's say, your 9th or 10th guy is going to be available, and there's going to be more because there's going to be other positions drafted. I would very much consider fielding calls to trade back 6 to 10 spots and look to get into the 4th round, because that 4th round pick could be a very valuable 3rd pick of the draft of whatever you don't get in the first 2. Meaning if you move back a little bit and get your Sam Laporta or Tucker Kraft, who could be available at 68, at your tight end spot, phenomenal. And then at 84, you get an interior lineman, a center, a guard. Will it be Bergeron? Probably not. Will it be Avila? Probably not. But you could also then go back into the fourth and then pick up a linebacker for depth, a Henry Toa if he's available, something like that, just throwing it out there. You can get a defensive tackle. You can get another lineman. I think they don't get out of here with just 2 top 100 picks. I think if the board falls a certain way, Levis goes, a couple of edges go, a couple corners go, and all of a sudden all these tight ends are remaining and we're at pick 48, 50, move back.
What about it? What about interior offensive linemen for the Miami Dolphins? Steve Avila seems to be there's a lot of mock drafts that fans did, and even, insiders did, that Steve Avila is a very high valued target for the Miami Dolphins and Chris Greer. If Steve Avila's there, or Darnell Washington, or Sam Laporta, let's say Sam Laporta and Steve Avila are there for the taking, who do the Dolphins go get?
I go in this case with Steve Avila, and then I try to get Strange in the 3rd round or Schoonmaker in the 3rd round. You're not going to get a better interior guard prospect for your line in the 3rd or 4th round. You could hit on a tight end.
You could hit on a tight end. That's
class.
fair. That's fair.
Class.
Yeah, look, and I said this earlier. Everybody's like, you don't need to go out and get a center. Here's the thing: you can move a center over to guard, right? And that's a very easy move. So interior offensive lineman, I think if Steve Avila is there, which I'll be honest with you, I don't predict that he will be at 51. But if he is, for any sort of reason, and does drop, by all means, I'm like, let's go.
Here are the names. I mean, look, we've got 20 picks. We've got 20 names that are going to be called prior to 51. So I'm already in my head. I've said good. If we don't trade up, I've said goodbye to Avila because he's 46, 43. You know what I mean? Like he's early 40s, maybe. I've said goodbye to a Mayer and a Musgrave because to me, those are your next 2 tight ends. I don't see a chance of Bergeron at 51. I think we might miss him by 1. I literally think he might go 50.
If they love Bergeron and they have a feeling somebody's going to draft in front of them and draft them, they totally see the Dolphins
have the asset
up 2 or 3 spots.
Outside, we've seen 2 trades, I believe, where it was literally going 1 spot, right? And it cost the team a 4th rounder.
Yep.
So this is where you're kind of getting the sense of the market, So the Dolphins don't have to, if they want to get 1 more pick. I got the trade chart up here. You know what I mean? So let's have some fun for a half a second. I mean, this trade chart is not your Bible.
Yep.
It's your guide. So the Dolphins pick 51 is valued at 112 points. And if I want to get back into the 4th round, which they're not in, and simply maybe talk to Dallas. Dallas is an intriguing team to move back to because you're also telling Dallas to maybe take the tight end that they want over your own pick, but you're also going right before the Bills.
So for those of you who don't know, Miami picks at 51, which is pick 20 of the 2nd round. And the Dallas Cowboys are pick 27th, which is overall 58.
Let me give you a hypothetical here.
7 spots. It's a 7. You're moving 7 spots back.
Let me give you a hypothetical here. Let's go through this. Let's say that Mayer is off the board.
Yep.
And Darnell Washington's off the board. Let's just, for argument's sake.
Yep.
And then you're sitting at 51. You get a call from Dallas, and you said, all right, we got pick 129 in the 4th. That we're going to give you, if we can move up to 51, we'll give you 58. So basically, you're literally exactly at 112. The Cowboys pick is 93 at pick 58. Their 129 is 19. You are at 112, unless my math is horrible. So basically, essentially what you're doing is you're ending up with either Sam Laporta or Tucker Kraft.
And you gained a 4th round
pick.
And
you gain a 4th round pick. So if you get Sam Laporta or Tucker Kraft.
And you gained a 4th rounder, that's a win for the Dolphins.
Let's go to round 3. And then let's say round 3, you get, a very capable interior offensive lineman who you could develop. A very tolerable situation at that number 84 pick. And then you know what? You go best darn player available, or I'll tell you one better. Guess what that 4th pick that you just acquired can be used for?
Who?
Something else.
Something
And
else.
no, and when I say something else, how many times have Chris Greer made a move before the move to use that move to make another move? And we're going as far back into other drafts. The Josh Rosen trade did not work out. I get it. But he didn't just trade for Josh Rosen. He made a trade with the Saints to get ammunition to use that draft pick to trade to the Cardinals. So if the Dolphins move back and pick up an asset, that asset is still a hot ticking asset.
It is. It is.
And it could be cooking.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4 Eps with a $2 donation.
Eps, the reason
why
why
not trade up for mayor, Jason?
Here's my blanket answer for at this point why they're not trading up. It doesn't mathematically make sense for them to do so when I hate using car references. I really hate it because it makes me sound like a used car salesman, but I'm going to use it. If I'm looking for a family car or a really good family car and it's the best car on the lot or the second best car on the lot, I can deal with the second best car on the lot if it's going to allow me to do other things in my life. Because those 2 cars are still extremely good for my needs. So I don't need to overpay or trade up or go above and beyond my budget to get something that is just a tiny bit better. You know, maybe Laporta or Tucker Kraft or someone else is better suited for Mike McDaniel in this offense than a Musgrave or a Mayer or a Darnell Washington. This is what we've seen with certain scenarios in the wide receivers with 4 in a row. We did not expect those 1, 2, 3, 4s. Why did Zay go number 3?
Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. It's Spread Kindness Friday. Over 200 of you all watching right now. Hit the like button, guys. Hit the like button.
And just to address, throw up Chris Johnson, Cali 818. Yes, the trade for Josh Rosen was an F-. However, a little bit of absorption of that miss was the fact that they were able to acquire another pick to use to get that trade. Retrospectively, it didn't work out, but the formula of getting another asset, robbing Peter to pay Paul
yep.
that is exactly what the Cardinals did last night. They robbed the Texans to move up again. They did what we did a couple of years ago. If I'm correct, it was San Francisco,
Philadelphia and San Francisco, right? We went back to 12, and then we went from 12 up back to 6. You know.
So here's the prediction within the prediction and the overall sum of what I'm trying to say. If we see at 51 the Dolphins logo of selection up next or who's next, and then it just changes to another graphic.
Don't be mad.
We're trading back.
Don't be mad.
I'm going to start doing I'm going to start feeling a little bit, because if it's going to be one of the teams that are still in that top 70, you're 60. If you're moving back within only 9 picks, they're going to get one more valuable pick that they could get either a difference maker immediately for their need or just flip it for another running back.
All right, we're going to get into that here in a second. Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. Guys, only 77 likes, over 220 of y'all watching. Hit the like button. It doesn't cost anything. It's free. Do want to remind you tonight we have a huge show at 7 p.m. We got almost every single, with the exception of a couple, almost every single Miami Dolphins YouTuber coming to appear on our show live tonight. The Phins Tailgate, TD Phins Talk, Dudley Durong, Nikki Smokes, Nando Talk, Jason Sarney, Go Time Dolphins, Dolphins United, Larry K, Lewis Sung with 5 Reasons Sports, The Touchdown with Doug Smith, Alex Dono of Locked On Canes, Dolphins Talks, Big E and Michael Vila, Phins Take CB83. The ladies are going to be in the building. 305 Sports Babe, Dolph Freaky, and Miss Phins. And we even got some of the newer crew coming in. The Phins Talk Sports Network, Miami Fan Talk Network, and Dolphins gang. And we're also going to hopefully have Paul Pickin on, and a couple of other people are going to be coming up here too. It's going to be awesome. The Phins tailgate crew, they're also going to have all your needs post-draft. And after our big show is over, our show is going to run from like 7 p.m. to 11 tonight. And after that, towards the end of the show, the Phins tailgate's going to fire up their post-draft coverage, and they're going to do a big panel on their show tonight. So shout out to them, and love it, man. A big show tonight, right, Jason? It's going to be fun.
Dude, I've been this is a big night for you, for us, for everyone, because this is there's gonna be people out there who get absorbed to a whole new bunch of
Dolphins YouTubers,
viewers,
content creators,
and that's why you're doing this. So yeah,
love
this is phenomenal. Can't wait.
All right, you mentioned the running back. Let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about Dalvin Cook. Does Dalvin Cook get traded today?
No.
Does he go to the Dolphins?
No, probably not. And,
okay,
and here,
I agree with you. But let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. All right, economically, and let's face it, it's about economics a lot more often than not in these kind of situations. And I wrote this in a Dolphins Wire article. And Steven, if you could throw it up, phenomenal. I tweeted it out. I broke down, and you can go to overthecap.com if you want to Cook's salary and the way that the dead cap and the savings work for the Vikings. Now, bear with me here, which is why, if Steven, you could bring up the visual, this will help us all.
Yep. Give me 1 second. I'm posting it in the
chat. There's a trade or a cut, and then there's pre-June 1 and post-June 1. So when you're putting all those combinations together, it does not make the most financial sense for the Vikings to do a move, whether it's a trade or a cut, this weekend or prior to June 1. There's millions of dollars that are at stake here. Just to backload it, what financially makes the most sense for the Vikings is to simply wait to cut him June 1st or June 2nd, whatever however it works.
So the issue on ease or difficulty of this starts with his $10.4 million salary on the book for 2023 with a $14.1 million cap hit. According to Over the Cap, cutting Dalvin Cook pre-June 1st would leave roughly $8.2 million in dead cap for Minnesota, with a savings of about $5.9 million this year. A trade, however, would create $6.2 million in dead cap space and a savings of roughly $7.9 million. Now, if Dalvin Cook is cut post June 1st, Minnesota would be left with the dead cap hit of 5.1 and a cap savings of $9 million. Even more intriguing financially, a post June 1st trade would mean a dead cap figure of just $3.1 million with a savings of $11 million.
Thank you for reading it. That's also, you send that tape into anywhere you want a voiceover because it was exquisite. But what I'm saying too is that it's going to be post June 1st, one way or the other, because the Dolphins aren't going to give up too much assets to circumvent the loss of money because the Dolphins are in money saving mode. Mm-hmm. So it's not going to be a situation where it's like, all right, look, we're going to forget the $4 million that you won't save. Forget the $5 million of dead cap that you're going to have to eat. Here's Jerome Baker. Here's Emmanuel Ogbah. Here's Cedric. That's not going to happen. So what the Dolphins could maybe do is talk about a post right now. Maybe it's in principle in their heads. Maybe everyone's already kind of planning that for June 1st. But if the Dolphins do something like draft a running back, which I don't think they're going to do, that might cancel that out. But my point is,
by the way, I'm not throwing out that they don't draft a running back on day 3. I could see them doing it on day 3 if what's the guy from Tulane,
Tajae Spears.
Yeah, if he's there on day 3 and the Dolphins have a chance to get him, he's like this. I want to say he's the second fastest, maybe even the fastest running back in the draft. So
he's a guy that a number of executives.
McDaniel likes speed. He fits the mold in the MO. And it's low risk, high reward, right? And so and it would be non-guaranteed money. You could still go out and get Dalvin. You could bring Tajon into training camp and remember, the people that we have currently in, only 2 of them are guaranteed contracts.
Correct.
The other 2 are not.
Correct.
Well, there's one of them that's like $500,000 or $300,000, but That's nothing. So essentially, you have 2 guaranteed contracts, 2 non-guaranteed contracts, and you could definitely do it. You could definitely.
The move that I'm hoping and expecting would be, and we'll probably hear this in maybe 4.5 weeks, is maybe something as simple as a 2024 pick swap, the famous pick swap, or a conditional 6th to turn into a 5th. Because if you're getting to the day before the deadline here, if you're getting to the last day of May 31st, and a deal has not been done, the Vikings are either just going to save money and lose a player, or they're going to take anything that they can get and save a little bit more money. So there could be an opportunity to trade him post June 1st. The Vikings could economically only eat $3 million and save 11. The Dolphins will then have to rework and renegotiate a contract, which probably will be your typical 2-year, $12 million, $6 million guaranteed, because it would have to be a hometown discount. It would have to be. So again, there are moving parts, but I would be shocked if it happens today or tomorrow. Let's have some patience. And then I think we're going to forget about this in a couple of days, and all of a sudden it's going to happen.
All right. So Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, Spread Kindness Friday. Jason Sarney, Steven Daniels. Hit the like button. Over 200 of y'all, only 83 likes. Hit the like button, guys. All right. Here's something that's interesting. Barry Jackson just tweeted this about 2 hours ago, and I think it's worth talking about. Whatever the Dolphins do, please don't take an O-line at 51 or 84. In my opinion, they have drafted 17 guards or tackles in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th rounds in the past 32 years, and only one has worked out. Robert Hunt. Please find O-line help in the veteran market. It's too big a risk with rookies here for whatever reason. Very interesting viewpoint from Barry Jackson, who you and I both respect in the business. So what do you think about this? This is a very interesting tweet.
You could tell when Barry is very passionate about something when he goes a little bit hyperbole.
Yes.
17 is a funny number. It's not the exact number, but his point is extremely accurate and well taken. Now, I'm also one of those guys that I like to look back at history, but it's not the end-all be-all. Just because you're drafting a lineman in the 2nd round does not make him the second coming of Liam Eichenberg. Just because you're trading potentially up for a lineman does not make him the second coming of Liam Eichenberg. But if there is a prospect that, look, I've told you I've wanted to be a fly in the wall in an NFL war room. I want to see a coach, a scout, a GM jump up on the table and do a rant and a rave of why they need a player. And I think that there's 2 offensive linemen in this class that you could do that for, that could solve potentially 2 problems, And I don't think that you have to have the fear of past mistakes. It's like a relationship. If you had some bad relationships, you're going to not go forward with a relationship because you've been scared of other relationships? No, people are different. Situations are different. I get what Barry is saying. Perfect world for me. If one of those 2 studs, Avila, Bergeron, Dewan Jones from the kid from Ohio State.
Yep. Weipler too. Weipler's another somebody.
Cody Mock. Again, there's 20 spots, and the Dolphins have 15 names that I'd be thrilled with, So if you are moving back and you're getting one of those awesome tight ends, and then you could use another pick as your second selection to get an offensive lineman to challenge either on the outside of one of the tackle spots for depth or swing tackle or whatever, and maybe even convert this offensive lineman to a left guard, you have to explore it. But you can't have the fear of, or else they wouldn't have drafted Tua. Or else if they had the fear of drafting a quarterback and missing, they wouldn't have drafted Tua, because there's been 25 of them prior to Tua that were either signed, drafted, brought in, traded for, or whatever. So I think I get Barry's worry, but let's see how the board plays.
Rashad with his $2 donation. Thank you, Rashad. I appreciate it. He says, that's all I need saying, Barry. I believe what he's trying to say is that's what I'm saying, Barry. I think he agrees with Barry. At least that's what I'm going to assume what he means by that.
Parts of it that I do too, because I do want that tight end who could immediately help putting points on the board, because I do ultimately think gun to head, Avila and Bergeron will not be available. So in this case, you have to go tight end or trade back and then still go tight end.
All right. I have a setup for a question, but there was another tweet that was just tweeted in the last 10 minutes by Jeremy Fowler of ESPN that I also think is very interesting and might play into this Dalvin Cook situation. Okay. So Jeremy Fowler of ESPN is tweeting, the Lions are receiving trade calls on the current running back DeAndre Swift, whose representatives have been in contact with the team about potentially moving to a new team. Detroit drafting Jahmyr Gibbs. The talented Swift appears poised to leave Detroit. My question to you, Jason, is understanding this now, does that soften the trade market, or does that make it even is it going to address in any way, shape, or form the Dalvin Cook situation and how that is handled? Because now there's another running back of value, not as good, right? Not as good, but of value that is out there available on the open market currently.
Very intriguing question, because it's a very intriguing scenario and they're completely different contractually. You got one going on a rookie contract that you could bring on in. Believe he's still a first rounder, DeAndre, so you could have that option this year, right? Is that accurate? But so. I get the intrigue of potentially saying, all right, forget Dalvin, let's go see if we could acquire Swift. But it definitely puts things in a little dampening of a market for the Vikings. But again, the Vikings are in a position where they could be fine with cutting and still having those savings post June 1st. But there is the value there of making that deal post June 1st, because the trade will save them a little bit more money if they can find a partner. But the value of them getting anything back in return, it's not going to be a lot whatsoever. So I think the Dolphins should pick up the phone, inquire about what it would take for Swift. But again, it's got to be probably a player, because the draft assets aren't there this year. And I don't think you move up from 51 or give your 51st pick for DeAndre Swift when that's not in their model. They don't use top 100 picks on running backs. They just don't.
All right. So let's play this out. Understanding the Dalvin Cook, DeAndre Swift situation, we're not going to go after Swift, and we're going to wait to see, how Minnesota decides to handle the situation with Dalvin. We're not going running back today. The other thing that we're probably not doing is going wide receiver, right? That's probably not going to happen.
Definitely not.
So, and if the understanding of Barry, which is very interesting, okay, that we've spent second, third, fourth, and fifth round picks, and I'm paraphrasing what he said, and only one has hit, and that being Robert Hunt, is the safest pick for the Miami Dolphins today at 51 a tight end?
Yeah. There's 4 names that are still available, that if they're still available, getting one of them would be, I think, extremely safe. So yeah.
Who are those 4?
In no order.
Okay.
It's Michael Mayer, Luke Musgrave, Darnell Washington. It's 5, actually. Sam Laporta, Tucker Kraft. Now, if it's me, that was 5, right? If it's me, I'm going Tucker Kraft, because he might be lowest on everyone's board, but most perfect for Mike McDaniel's offense. The 2 on the bottom of that list, Laporta and Kraft, might be the best for the Dolphins. I know everyone loves Darnell Washington. He's a monster. He's a highlight guy from the combine. I think that we're overvaluing those aspects, but I think that he could be a great player. But I think that for the Dolphins, there's 2 guys that I think could be immediate and help out, and even do it without having to catch passes. Tucker Kraft's a guy who could help out with blocking, and same idea with Laporta, but he's more of a receiving guy, Laporta. But I think Kraft is the best of both worlds. And if you really, I think, want to go the best potential, if Mayer is there at 51, you probably should just take him, but I would doubt that he would be there.
3 offensive linemen for me. Matthew Bergeron out of Syracuse, who Nando, you, me are in love with.
And he'd be a guard. They'd move him to guard.
We have a love fest with Bergeron.
He would be a guard.
And I have no problem saying that. The center out of Minnesota, Schmitz, John Michael Schmitz, okay? Or Steve Avila, who I believe in no way, shape, or form will be there at 51.
No. He's going to be an early pick within the top.
Any one of those three for the offensive lineman, I'm running up to the counter at 51. If any of with the exception of Tucker, okay, because I'm not as familiar with him, any of those first 4 tight ends are available, I'm probably going with that. But I like the fact that there are some other tight ends that are of value that I could trade back, get more assets, and do. So the Dolphins wait. They are going to wait and see how the draft board fills out today. And I believe that at the end of the day, what will happen is if one of those 3 interior offensive linemen on their board, they're going to run up to the board and say, we'll take this person. And or if they are in love with any of those tight ends, they will run up to the board. But if they're like, I'll be happy with any of these tight ends, we'll trade back.
Right.
And I think that's how it'll look today. Sam Laporta also being a part of that.
With each pick that isn't a tight end and is an offensive lineman, the probability of a Dolphins trade back, I think, will grow exponentially.
I agree.
If you're at pick 40, all the tight ends are available. Avila goes. Man, we lost out on Avila, but all those tight ends are available. And then 4 picks later, tight ends are still available. Maybe Musgrave goes, right? Or Mayer goes. And then Bergeron goes next. Unless another tight end comes off the board, you got to call either Jacksonville, New York, or Dallas. Move back 5, 6, 7 spots. Pick up another 4th. It just would... There's too much room in between 87 and 197, 84 and 197. That's the Dolphins' gap between round 3 and round 6. Getting that 4th could be huge.
Let me ask you, what are the odds today of us trading Cedric Wilson for a day 2 pick or a day 3 pick?
It's funny. I mentioned that yesterday and got slayed by a lot of people because a lot of people think that his contract and his stats aren't worth anything. Now, Wilson's a fine player. Now, the reason why he doesn't have any stats is because who would have thought Tyreek Hill becomes available after he signs a free agent contract last year with the Dolphins? That's an unfortunate set of circumstances for him. A lot of money is involved in this contract. I probably would give it a 15 to 20% chance that they trade Wilson. They're probably making calls, as you've heard, and we've all heard, that they were trying to do right by him. But yeah, it's probably not going to be anything worth of a whole lot of value. But the value is dumping the salary and maybe moving up relatively. If you move the 6th round pick that they have with Cedric Wilson up to a 5th round pick, there could be value there. But then again, it's a lot of money for a 3rd string receiver. He can return kicks, but unfortunately for Wilson, the lack of stats was all because of the fact that Tyreek Hill came in, Jalen Waddle was there. He became a non-factored player, but he did have some rather decent plays down the stretch. He's a football player. He could help somebody.
It sounds like it'll be a lot of fun. I would agree with that. All right, a couple things. Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. If you missed any of the show, go back and rewatch today. It's good. It's good content, amazing content. I know there's a lot of fans that have questions. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to open up the lines for one person at a time. Ask your question, give your take on draft. If you want to give your take on draft 1 and what the Dolphins should do, give your take, and then we're going to open it up to the next person. Jason and I want to try to get through as many people as we can this morning. So we're gonna move it a little bit quicker than normal because it's Spread Kindness Friday. Make sure you hit that like button. Only 88 likes, guys. Let's get to 100 likes. I think we can get to 100 likes. Can we get to 100 likes? 89 likes. 11 more likes gets us to 100 likes. Let's go. Donate to the channel, help the channel grow, and as always, subscribe to the channel. If you're not already subscribed, what are you doing? subscribe. Okay. All right. I'm going to drop the link. But I'm going to bring you on. By the way, no bans or timeouts today. All right. We just want to bring people on and we want them to get their thoughts in, and we're going to move it today. No bans or timeouts today. Okay. We're just bringing people on as quickly as we can. I'm going to drop the link now. If you guys have a question, you can always do a super chat. Ask the question. We will answer your question. As a matter of fact, we'll move your question to the very next thing. If you do a super chat of a question, we'll move it up to the top. Okay. And obviously the higher the donation, the higher your question goes to the top. All right. So let's go ahead and do that. Here's the link. And let me pin it to the top of the chat. And there we go. And away we go. I'm excited for tonight. Tonight should be a lot of fun while people are getting ready to hop on here. Should be fun, right, man?
I can't wait.
It'll be good. It'll be good. All right, first person. What's going on, Iggy Fest?
Yo, what's good?
Who's this?
Hey,
It's Greg.
Greg, what's up, my guy? How are you this morning?
I'm doing great, Steven.
Hey,
Celtics
welcome.
won last night. Let's go.
Hey, man, I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you, but I'm not a Celtics fan, so
But anyway, the draft board has set up nicely for the Dolphins, eh?
It does. It definitely looks like that. Looks like the Miami Dolphins have a lot of things to be foaming out the mouth for, especially seeing the first 15 picks will tell us a lot about what the Dolphins are going to do when it's all said and done.
I hope they trade back because I want to see us to get more picks to add more talent on this roster.
Okay.
But hey, if they pick somebody, I'm going to be happy either way.
Andrevius wanted me to tell you that we hate Deshaun Elliott. He told me to tell you that.
Well, Deshaun Elliott's going to have a great year.
I agree with you. I think Andrevius is being a hater right now.
Yeah, I
like Deshaun Elliott too. All right, hey, real quick, man. Give us anything you want to talk about day 2 or prediction, or if you have a question, we'll answer it. Want to get through as many people as we can get to.
Do the Dolphins? Hey, I don't think it's gonna happen, but do you think they maybe trade up if they have like Michael Mayer as their number 1 tight end and they really want him and he's falling?
Greg, I appreciate the question. We're gonna answer it. Thank you, buddy. Thank you for watching. You've always been a big supporter. Thank you for your loyalty, man. I love you, brother.
You got it.
Hey, man. So look, do I think that they move up for somebody like Mayer? I think if the Dolphins, if Chris Greer and either Vic Fangio or Mike McDaniel are just madly in love with a player, and the deal is right. And for me, it can't be anything over 9 to 10 picks tops. And to me, that's a lot, right? I think it's more likely if the Dolphins move up, at most it would be 4 or 5 picks, right? At most. Because you wouldn't have to give up as much, and you're probably jumping up just to beat somebody at a pick because you just really want this person. The reality of the situation is, Greg, I think that the Dolphins like a lot of Miami Dolphins, or excuse me, a lot of players that could be potential Miami Dolphins. And I think that it just makes more sense for them that depending on how the first 15 picks go, that they could easily trade back. And I think that would be, the best. You agree with that, right, Jason? Go on.
Yeah, no, to just add a little bit, and you hit it on the head, I don't believe that trading up is the move because they just don't simply have the asset unless it's a ridiculous player situation. But then again, salaries come into play. So no, I really do think that if these tight ends names are not being called, save 1 or 2, I'm looking down the list right now. There are even later tight ends that I could tolerate, if it's not one of the top 2 or 3. So I think that trading back, if the board falls the way we want it, is the move. I don't think trading up is the way to go for a tight end. And if you want to remember what Marvin Allen said, assistant GM to Chris Greer during that press conference, where Chris Greer was kind of giving them the elbow under the table, he was basically indicating that this is a very, 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 very deep tight end class and that they're going to probably end up with one of the guys that they like. That doesn't tell me they're going to trade up for one. It tells me they're going to trade back and get one that they love on the cheap.
I agree with you. Let's bring on the next guest, Rashad. Good morning, Rashad.
Good morning, fellas.
How are you, man?
Rashad.
Welcome to the show. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
I'm good. I'm at the airport.
Where you
Just
headed?
wanted to say Hawaii. I told you.
Oh, that's right. You going to Hawaii?
You going to Hawaii?
Mm-hmm.
I'm jealous, man. Have a safe trip.
Have
Thank you.
fun,
Thank you. But about the draft last night was crazy. A lot of people fail, especially the tight ends. And I'm on Darnell Washington and Sam Laporta at 2. At 51. 84. I'll take Israel. How about Israel from is it
From
Pitt?
Pitt?
From Pitt. I take them at 84. The way the running backs went yesterday, I'm okay with that. I'll be fine with that. I was thinking about trading back into the 4th and taking them, but if you got to take them in the 3rd, I'll take them.
Hey man, look, I'll say this. We'll elaborate. Remember those 2 names, Jason, and after we get off the air, we'll just elaborate on those 2 things. But
Sleeper.
Who's a sleeper?
Safeties fail. I like Antonio Johnson.
Okay, all right. Hey, look, man, I think it's good. Are you going to be watching tonight from Hawaii?
Oh,
did he go? I think he left.
Oh, I lost my. Wait.
Oh, I hear him.
I ain't got no signal.
All right, Rashad, we love you, brother. Have fun in Hawaii, man. Be good.
Appreciate it.
Safe travels. Enjoy.
All right, man. Who are the 2 players that he discussed real quick?
Israel, the running back from Pitt. I don't think I heard the first name.
I thought he said Sam Laporta.
Choppy there.
I thought he said Sam Laporta. Look, Sam Laporta is obviously high on the draft board for a lot of different people, including the Miami Dolphins. So I think at the end of the day, the Dolphins, if they are in love with him and they think he is the difference maker on this roster, then yes, they could jump up 4 or 5 spots to go get him. Do I think that they will? No. But I think it's a safe pick that if he's there at 51, he's one of the guys that they're considering, depending on who's left there on the board with them as well. And as far as 81, I'm not as familiar with the guy he talked about, Israel. I can't think of his name. So
it's again, when you're going Israel up in Conda, I just am not on the running back being drafted by Miami. It's like I could see 6th or 7th round taking a flyer. I could see 1 or 2 being signed undrafted free agent. I think that if there's going to be a running back situation to focus on, your 1A is your Dalvin Cook. Your 1B is potentially kicking the tires on a DeAndre Swift. And I just do not think that they're going to be calling a name drafting a running back. I just don't believe that's going to happen.
I would agree with you. All right, let me pull this up. $10 donation from Flipside Fishing. Thank you, buddy. He said Dolphins have drafted 17 guards or tackles in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in the past 32 years. Only one has worked out, Robert Hunt. Please don't draft a lineman in the 2nd or 3rd. Flipside, we actually just discussed this from the tweet from Barry Jackson, who pretty much said the same thing verbatim. I'll say this. There's 3 offensive linemen, and that's the guy from Minnesota, Schmitz. I keep on forgetting his name. I don't know why. Steve Avila, and obviously Matthew Bergeron. If those 3 guys are there, I think you have to go take them. I think you have to take one of those 3. Because I think those 3 guys are potential day 1 starters and affect your team right away, in my opinion. Or at least have the ability to, and that goes a long way within itself, right? So, I mean, that's my opinion on that. All right, let me get to the next person. Phins for Life 561. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How y'all doing?
What's going on, boss? How are you?
Good
man?
morning.
Happy draft day to you. Happy Spread
Yes,
Kindness
sir.
Friday.
It starts today. Lucky for us, I just had a couple things. Lucky for us, the board fell at the way it fell because, we got 20 spots before us. You would think the quarterback for Kentucky is going to get picked, obviously, before our pick, Joey Porter Jr. Like you said, there's 3 offensive linemen. So, I mean, what I'm saying is there's going to be 8, maybe 7 to 9 picks that people thought would already be gone. So the way I'm looking at it is I think there's going to be a lot more available when we come on the clock than people, than people think.
Look, I don't think that you're necessarily wrong, because I don't think Dolphin fans saw the draft work out this way in a lot of people's mock drafts, right? Like I don't see a lot of things. I didn't think they think that I mean, every mock draft that I saw, there was a minimum of at least 2 tight ends taken in the first round. Minimum. Okay. In every mock draft I saw. If you show me a mock draft where only 1 tight end was taken, I will be more than happy to go back on what I was talking about. But it was every one I saw was at least 2. So there will be a run of tight ends this evening in the second round, especially in maybe even in those first 15 picks. Here's a hot take. There will be at least, I want to say 4, but I think I'm comfortable saying 3. Screw it. 4 tight ends will be taken in the first 15 picks tonight. 4 tight ends will be taken in the first 15 picks tonight. That is my hot take and my my prediction for
Steven,
the day.
so if that happens, and you're saying before our pick?
I mean, yeah, that would probably, unless we move up to go get one of those tight ends.
Well, I got you. And I agree with Jason and you as well. If we move anywhere, it'll be backwards. I just hope that I would rather move backwards in the 3rd round, which people probably disagree with me. But if you were to move backwards 3-4 spots in the 3rd round and even pick up a 5th, maybe a 5th could get cooked. But in the 2nd round, I would much rather pick and get my talent. There's got to be somebody you like, and at 51. I'm hoping that one of the 3 offensive linemen are there. If there is a big run on tight ends, and of course, Joey Porter Jr., you can count that as 19 picks in front of us. And there's 2 or 3 other players that you could count that are guaranteed locks.
It could be.
So,
it could be, man. Hey, man, I appreciate you.
Real quick, the way it fell, so then you can throw running back out the window.
Yeah, we know. We definitely agree that there's no running back that will be drafted by the Dolphins tonight at all, man. Hey, man, I appreciate you calling this morning, and you're a loyal listener too. You're here all the time. Thank you for coming on today, and happy Spread Kindness Friday. And I hope to see you tonight, man. Watch the show tonight. It's gonna be a big one.
Y'all have a blessed day. Hey, hit the like button.
I like.
Thank you, Phins. I appreciate you, man.
Button, y'all. Over 106 likes. Can we get to 125 likes? Let's get to 125 likes.
Push it.
Let's go. All right, let's go to the next person. And by the way, if you guys want to ask a question, do a super chat. We will answer your question while we bring on these rotating, wonderful, amazing Dolphins and people on here this morning. All right. Next person, Anthony Manzano. Hello, Anthony.
Hey, Jay.
What's going on, bud?
Hey, Jason.
Hey,
how are you guys today?
Pretty good, man. Go ahead.
Good morning to you,
Honestly, my prediction, I understand the Steelers drafted a tackle already. I think they're going to triple down on offensive linemen to solidify their offensive line. I think they're going to draft Bergeron at 32 and then Avila at their 2nd pick and stuff like that.
So you think time out, you think Bergeron's going to be the 1st pick tonight?
Yes.
And you think Avila's right behind him?
No. The Avila gets drafted with their 2nd pick.
Which is 49 overall. 49th overall.
Yeah, 49th overall. And honestly, for me, I see what you guys are saying, that you think it's more realistic that the Dolphins trade down than trade up.
So time out, Anthony. Time out. I got to call you out a little bit. You think that Bergeron's going to get drafted before Avila or Avila,
yes,
however you say his name?
Yes.
And you think the same team's going to draft both of them?
Yes.
No way. And I'm not a betting man, but bro, you can host my show for a day if you're right on that.
Because to be honest, that's their weakness. That's the Steelers' weakness. They have a horrible offensive line.
Hey, look, if you're right, you will have your own show for a day. I promise you will.
I don't want to take over your show.
No, look, I'm going to give you a show for a day if you are right. Go ahead, Jason.
I like the way he thinks because it's. Look, I don't think it's going to happen. No offense, Anthony. Well, I'll give you half credit here. I think they are, and those 2 picks going to go offensive line, but I think that's going to be a little bit further down. I wouldn't be surprised if it is Avila or Bergeron, pick 49, as alluded to, that I think the Dolphins are going to miss out by a pick or 2 on one of those guys. But I would venture a guess that Joey Porter Sr. is in Pittsburgh right now, just kind of standing as close as he can to the waiting room, as close as he can to the war room. You know,
he's probably in Pittsburgh's war room. What are you talking about? He's like,
you know, my son's available.
You know, my son's available, right?
Yeah, no, and for me, Joey Porter, I see going to the Lions.
Joey Porter ain't getting to 35.
I'll tell you what, if he doesn't go to Pittsburgh, that is a place where I totally could see him end up. But I do think that there's an outside shot that if Levis, whatever his name is, Levis is available at the Detroit pick, I think Detroit would get him and let him.
What do you think caused? Honestly, my surprise pick last night was Will McDonald. That was a super reach right there. The Jets panicked. That's a Jets pick right there. They panicked because they couldn't get Broderick Jones because the Steelers traded up. And honestly, I think the Dolphins. I'm still saying this. I think they double down on defense. I don't think they draft an offensive player. I do not think they draft an offensive player. I'm sorry, Jason, you don't want to hear that. But I think they're giving this draft to this offseason to Fangio.
Okay, Anthony, I love you.
I don't want to live in a world where they don't
Thank you for coming on, bro. Thank you for giving us your predictions, man. I appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
No matter how bad those predictions are. Okay. And I love you. I love you, man. I appreciate you watching the show every morning. But
Fangio got a couple of nice
that's on par with a Pete take. Okay. That is on par with a Pete take.
Well, he's not in the waiting room right now, so hopefully we're gonna avoid that today. No offense, Pete.
Oh, all right. Let me go to the next person. Spider-Man. What's up, Irving?
Hey,
what's going on, man?
What's up, Spider-Man?
Hey, what's up? But hey, can you rotate me with somebody else? I'll be right back.
Spider-Man's getting out of the pick. He's trading back.
All right, I will put you back in the rotation because I'm a nice guy. Man, I gotta make see what I do for the fans, guys. You see what I do for the fans? I'm all about the fans here.
He's got a couple of questions. He's just gonna trade it back.
I mean, maybe. Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. Hit the like button, donate to the channel, help the channel grow. If you have a question, use Super Chat. We'll get your question in here. We definitely want to answer anything you guys want to know what we know. And I want to remind you guys again tonight, 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Matter of fact, hold on. Where's it at? 7 p.m. tonight.
Yes,
7 p.m. tonight. Okay, you like that? I got a little voice box here. Make sure you guys come and hang out with the NFL draft live stream, the Finlaw family reunion, as I'm calling it. And we got a little bit of everybody almost up here. And I'm really excited about all the beautiful Miami Dolphin fans coming up here. Big Dougie B asked if Levis is still available in the late 40s. Do you make a move to draft him, given Tua's history of injury, White and Skylar battling it out for third string? All right.
Put an Amber Alert out for me if that happens.
If the Dolphins
put an Amber Alert
in
out for
any
me
way, shape, or form draft Levis tonight,
I'm out.
I love doing. I'm not going to stop doing the show, but
I'm out.
It'll be no, you can't be. You can't be out. I need you. Jason.
I'm gonna if this happens, I'm picking up. If they draft Will Levis, I'm picking up and leaving. I'm going to Australian rules rugby.
Dougie B, I will allow you to be like have a voice of the people. What you can make the rules for a week on I'm just giving everybody an opportunity to run my show here. Okay. If Anthony's prediction turns out to be right, what does it need to be? Bergeron and Avila picked by the Steelers, and Bergeron has to be picked before Avila. Yeah, that's never going to happen. But and Big Dougie B, Levis in no way, shape, or form will be drafted by the Miami Dolphins.
Zero.
It will never happen. And yeah, that's all that needs to be said about that. And that's what we're gonna say about that. Never gonna happen.
Never gonna happen.
Big Dougie B. I love you. Never gonna happen. I don't want them to do it. Just asking. Yeah, no, and never in a million years will that happen.
If they draft a quarterback with their first pick in this draft, not only am I
hold
out,
up. So here's the thing. Hendon Hooker's interesting. If he's there in the third round, maybe.
No, it just doesn't. It doesn't move the needle now. It doesn't move the needle now. But they got to move the needle now.
Look, the Dolphins aren't drafting a quarterback in this draft. It's never going to happen. So no point in even talking about it. All right,
Spider-Man's ready.
Good morning, Todd. How are you?
Oh, Todd's in.
Todd.
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Floor is yours, man. How are you?
I tell you what, I do want Washington because that's like having another offensive lineman on the line of scrimmage. If we can't get one of those offensive linemen to play right tackle, if we don't get one of the top guys.
Well, so the people that we're talking about would probably be fill in that guard position,
right?
That right guard position, but
left guard
or left guard. I'm sorry, but. Look, I don't know what they do at tackle except to bring. Look, we saw the video yesterday of Taylor Lewan saying that the Dolphins called him. I think that's real. I think that they have. I think they've at least inquired, right?
We brought in that one guy. We brought in that other tackle the other day.
And DJ Fluker is another person that I think is there. And we got the guy. We did bring in who did
the guy from Denver?
The guy from Denver, Cam Fleming, right? Fleming.
Yep.
All these guys, I think, would be great opportunities for the Dolphins in training camp to see if they can compete for that right tackle position. As far as any tackles being there that will help us day one in round two, I don't think they're there.
Now, I know you guys brought up not getting a running back, but I'm telling you, they spent some time with a guy named Devin H.A. And I'm not saying in the second round, but if he slips somewhere in the third where they can trade up, I wouldn't be surprised.
But so something like that, Todd, would take the Dolphins moving back in the second to gain an additional pick, whether that be a third or fourth, right? And I meant to ask Jason this. Is there a world, Jason, where the Dolphins trade out of the second and get 2 third-round picks from a team and maybe have 3 third-round picks?
Well, that would only be like San Francisco, I think, because I think they have the most third-round picks.
Got a couple. Look, there's certainly a path to that if you're looking at a couple of different teams.
That trade is out there, and I believe it exists. Do I want it? I don't think so, but I want to ask, do you think it's something that the Dolphins would consider?
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at your overall value chart, so you don't really look necessarily the round. You look at the pick number. If they could stick to within the top 120 picks and get 3 of those guys, then I'm really happy with that. So trying to pull back up that trade chart. Yeah, San Francisco's got a couple of back end picks. You're looking at, like, as mentioned before, Dallas, New York, and Jacksonville. There's opportunity. They should be really active on the phones today. And as for, the running back you mentioned, if they do acquire another pick in the fourth, I would venture that running back could be on the docket there, maybe. But I still maintain that I think the plan is going to be June 1st, take care of the running back. Maybe Sunday. Good.
I completely agree with you about June 1st getting our main running back. Right. But like a guy like H.A. is a guy you can come off the bench and you can get rid of the bottom 2 guys that we have.
Well,
You know what I
I don't
mean? It's just
disagree
that's
achievement.
why that's why I like day 3 picks of a potential running back, of
Running back,
somebody
right.
like the kid from Tulane, who I love. I think he's great. And if he's there for us in day 3, I'm gonna be like, go get him. Because
Yeah, and round 6, and just to say another thing, like round 6 or 7 could be again opportunities to package a player with that 6, that 197 to move up 5 spots, 10 spots.
Hey, hold up. Now I want to keep one of those picks because I want to get that USC guard who's hurt. I want to find a way to take a chance on him, stash him in case we lose out. We can't re-sign our right guard. You know, I want to keep somebody
that's the
stashed
same
like
thing that
that.
happened with Cincinnati a couple of years ago with the center from Ohio State. He was potential first round pick. He got hurt. He dropped into a later round, and Ohio State picked him up. And
I would love to stash this guy
know.
because before he tore his
Elbow
ACL,
throw.
he was going to be a top guard in the draft, one of the top guards.
I want to bring a point up because I've seen it floating around the chat. And sorry to just
Hold up
deviate
real
here.
quick. Hey, Todd, man, I appreciate you coming on this morning,
Hey,
brother.
not a
I
problem.
love you,
Great
man.
stuff,
Be
Todd.
good.
Hey, y'all have a good one.
Yep.
You as well,
Watch
Todd.
tonight, man. Make sure you watch. It's gonna be good.
Yeah,
I will.
quick on a point. I've been seeing, trading down or trading up doesn't necessarily paint you as a win now or build for the future situation.
Mhm.
This is a stock market draft board that you have to play minute by minute, pick by pick, situation by situation.
Correct.
The Dolphins are not one player away, but yet they are still contenders. But what they need to do is they need to solidify a potential starter or two, and they do need depth. They need a certain area or two where they could look. I don't need a starter on the line, but I need the next man up. I need the 6th man. If they can draft the 6th man who may work his way in week 9, week 10 to someone who was like, all right, we got someone here who might take us on home if there was an injury, if there's, deficiencies by a player, but they need to get out of this draft with some more depth because we saw what happened last year. They made the playoffs being decimated by injury. And if they had some more depth in certain areas, maybe it's the offensive line, maybe one more player from a cornerback. But the point is they are not one player away and they're not so far. They need to play this draft board to the best of the value equation that it could get for them. And I'll tell you what that is, 19 or 20 picks.
Yeah.
And that's where we are.
That's why I said the first 15 picks are going to be crazy. All right. We got some more people in the back. Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers. We're going into overtime in the afternoon here. We want to remind you we are the #1 destination for all of your draft coverage today for Miami Dolphin fans, because we're going to have almost everybody today. It's going to be fun. You know what we get to do today? We get to play baseball. It's one of my favorite lines from Dennis Quaid in The Rookie. We get to play baseball. I love that line.
Quaid's great.
All right, next up, Mr. Negative. What's up, Mr. Negative? My guy.
Hey guys, how's it going today, guys?
How are you, man?
How are you, Mr. Negative? Will it be sunny or cloudy today?
I'm great, thanks.
Okay, I'm all ear and I'm ready to listen.
So you guys I actually liked Anthony's prediction because Pittsburgh really values offensive line. No, I'm just saying they really value offensive line. They've taken guys in the past, that they didn't need, like Alan Faneca and other guys, and they just put them in there. Best player available. That's their philosophy, and I actually agree with it. But having said that,
well, to be fair, okay, I just to be fair. That is a very accurate statement, but there is no alternate universe where Matthew Bergeron is getting drafted and Avila's dropping to them again, and then they go back.
I agree, Stephen, but here's the thing. They have Kenny Pickett, right? So you want to build the absolute brick wall and have an awesome running game to help that kid out, because he is not going to throw his way to, wins, right? It's not going to happen. He's Kenny Pickett. He's got to grow in the position. But anyway, what I wanted to say was more like about our situation, right? And someone brought it up about Will Levis. I'm not condoning drafting Will Levis or trading up for him, but if he is there, the discussion has to begin, because why have we sucked for so long? Okay, and here's why we've sucked for so long. Because we draft and we reach for need. No, we drafted, we don't take best player available. You can't tell me and sit here and say that a Hendon Hooker, right, with his ceiling and his potential, couldn't be better than Darnell Washington, right, at the tight end position.
By the way, that's why I say at the third round, I think if Hendon Hooker's there in the third round, you at least have an.
He's not going to be, Steven. No. He's not going to be. He is great value.
I understand that. I agree.
He's great value at 51. And I'm going to go back into history here. I don't know how far you guys go back with the history and everything else. Ron Wolf was like the catalyst of taking quarterbacks, right? At one point in time, he had Mark Brunell, Brett Favre. He had Kurt Warner, and he had Matt Hasselbeck or someone, like 4 guys in the room, right? He traded this guy. He moved that guy. He was always mixing and matching quarterbacks, right? Because he traded for value. He didn't draft for need. He drafted best player available, right? I mean, to me, a tight end is not going to move the needle this year. We don't throw to the tight ends.
So you would be upset if Darnell Washington was picked?
Yes, I would be upset because he's like a 6th offensive lineman. Go draft an offensive lineman.
That's what we need, though. We need a tight end who can block.
What do we need a tight end for? For him to run routes that we're never going to throw to him?
Right, so
for him to block downfield, for him to block on the line of scrimmage.
Let's have the debate. Gesicki is a top 10, maybe even arguably 5 talent in the league at his position, but he's not a true tight end. And he was never utilized here because he couldn't block. The Dolphins are looking for a tight end that can block.
Tua was never throwing to him. 70% of the time he would look to Waddle or Tyreek. He's not.
He also played it. How many snaps did Gesicki play in last year? How many snaps did Gesicki play in last year?
It was like 30%.
Yeah, it was low.
I was at a game in Buffalo. Gesicki was wide open down the seam. He threw into triple coverage to Tyreek in the flat.
You're talking about one play. I'm not saying that there's not more
plays than that, Stephen. I'm citing one play.
Time out, Mr. Negative. Hear me out. I understand what you're saying. Just hear me out about the tight end. Gesicki is a great talent and was wide open in certain situations.
45% of the snaps.
How many?
45%.
45. Okay. So 45% of the snaps he was in, which means, and I don't know what this is, and I don't know if there's a way to look it up, but I would almost be willing to say that a majority, over 3/4, over 75% of that 45% were passing plays where he was in route. I'm telling you, it's that high. It's got to be that high because he did not and does not block. And what Mike McDaniel needs to run his offense is a blocking tight end. And Darnell Washington fits that mold to a T. Perfection.
How much did Darnell Washington catch at Georgia? How much?
We don't care about catches. I don't care if my tight end catches. I need him to make 2 to 4 catches a game.
Here's the mix, guys.
You have Durham Smythe who can block.
Then why didn't he play a majority of the snaps last year?
Who's that?
Durham Smythe. If he's that good,
because you need a blocking tight end. Gesicki didn't work in
Darnell Washington. You're making
Darnell Washington doesn't catch the ball. He doesn't catch the ball. Go look at his.
You don't need this tight end to catch the ball. Negative.
This is why I'm saying that the tight ends that I think the Dolphins are targeting are guys that could do both things fairly well.
I agree, Jason. So get one in the 6th round. Go get one in the 6th round. Who cares?
Let Jason cook, Mr. Negative. Let Jason cook. Go ahead.
Because the difference of a 6th round tight end is a guy like a Schaubert who you brought in who's going to catch 5 balls a year and be a decent blocking tight end, or it could be a guy like a Dallas Goedert who is someone who could. Let me just finish here. There's 3 players who I think could fit the Dolphins system to the point, realistically, where they could help in the running game, help in the passing game, and be someone that could help when their receivers are running downfield to their running backs downfield, because they're not going to stop at the line of scrimmage. And those players could be Luke Musgrave, Sam Laporta, Tucker Kraft. Darnell Washington is a guy that's great in the inline blocking, but I want
a little bit
By
more
the way,
than
it's not
just one
Darnell
component.
Washington either. It's any blocking tight end. I don't care. Like
Right.
here's what I look for, and I'll let you say one more thing before, because I got a whole bunch of people, and I want you to get out your final point. Let me just say this last thing and say that what I am looking for, whatever tight end we end up drafting, here's what Dolphin fans should look at. In my opinion, they shouldn't look at catches. They shouldn't look at touchdowns. They should look, how many years did he play and how many starts did he have during those years? And out of those years he started, how many snaps did he play? And if he played a majority, my thing, over 70% of the snaps of the offense of his college team, and he started over 2 years, then he's the guy I'm looking for. He is the guy that I want. I do not care about touchdowns. I do not care about yards. I want a guy who plays on offense a majority of the snaps and also stays healthy and can block. And when you're on the field for over 70% of the snaps, you're blocking too. It tells me that you're a good blocker.
Yeah, I go the other way. Listen, if you're not going to throw the ball to him, I don't care if he blocks, catches, whatever.
What if we're talking about 12 personnel here, and you got a guy like a Durham Smythe who is a 75% catch rate guy,
yep,
and then you have a guy who could potentially mess up your head if you're on the defensive side of the ball with two very capable blocking tight ends, and each of them can catch the ball. Now, what the negative was from last year when Gesicki was on the field, oh no, they're going to pass. They're going to pass. Now, when you're using 12 personnel with two viable overall tight ends, now you're making people think too much. So I think Steven is right where you need a blocking tight end, but there are a few who could do both well enough to warrant a top 55, 65.
I don't disagree with you guys. If I thought my quarterback was going to throw to the tight ends at all, but he's not.
So you're mad at Tua, and I get that,
I'm
and
not
I
mad at
understand
Tua.
that.
Steven, I'm not mad at Tua. I don't care if he throws to a fan in the stands and it gets us a touchdown.
You do care if he
That would be out of bounds,
Oh,
Mr. Negative.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be out of bounds.
I know. I don't care who he throws to, but he just chooses not to go to the tight ends. It is what it is. So for my value, in the second round, if he's there, I'm going Hendon Hooker because it's best player available. I can find a tight end in the 6th round.
But what is that going to, Mr. Negative? I have a question.
We got too many people. We can't
You
go
wanna
into
know where Travis Kelce was found, where Darren Waller was found? 5th and 6th round picks these guys were. You can find
How is Hooker going to help now?
I don't help. Durham Smythe is good enough.
How is Hooker going to help now?
Who's Hooker? Because again, I think he's better than Mike White. Mike White is ass.
But
yeah, he's
so you're
Mike.
How
White
is it going to help the
Jason, leave it alone,
2023
Jason. Don't. I'm flagging
Mike
you
White
down.
stinks.
Don't go down this road.
Hey, Jason, let me ask you this, and then I'll let you guys go because I know you got a lot of people. What did you
I love
think
you,
of
Mr.
Mike
Negative.
White
I
when
do
he was
love
with
you.
the-
We gotta have a good. I want you and I to have a really good debate show one day. I love you,
Awesome.
man. You're good.
Awesome. What do you guys think of Mike White when he was with the Jets? Honestly,
I like
he was better than Zach Wilson.
He was better than Zach
that's not
Wilson.
saying much. What did you think of him?
I thought that he was a better quarterback than their starter, and I thought
Okay.
that he was a decent.
And he was an
backup.
undrafted rookie.
Right? Did you make fun of him though? Did you make fun of him?
No, I don't do that, Mr. Negative. I'm not the kind of guy that like. likes to
I
attack
can tell
people
you
for
right now,
nothing.
neither one of us.
And now he's a great backup, isn't he?
No, Mr. Negative.
Nobody said he's a great
No,
backup.
Mr.
He has
Negative.
a lot of
I'm
potential.
not the kind of guy that unsolicitedly wants to go every day of my life make fun of a football player. That's
fair.
not my MO, Mr. Negative.
That's fair. That's fair.
There we go.
Although Andrevius is different. He says Mike White is a whole pack.
And I'll tell you, regardless of Mike
Leave my
White,
boy alone,
regardless of any other guy,
Guys, my point is, if we lose Tua for the season, we're done.
and if I cross the street and the garbage truck goes too fast and kills me, I don't want to walk next.
At least I can have some fun. At least I can have some fun watching Hendon Hooker over Mike.
Leave it alone. You got to go to the next person. Andrevius said it's the first thing I've agreed with Mr. Negative on today.
And me and Andrevius, we disagree on a lot of things.
Oh my goodness, Mr. Negative, you definitely came in and
Steven, I always like to liven things up.
You do, man.
Liven
You
things
did.
up here.
I love you, brother. Be good, man.
You guys are awesome.
Are you going to watch the show tonight? Watch the show tonight, man. It'll be good.
You guys are awesome. Take care.
You're the man, brother.
Steven,
Whew.
if the
We went on a
Dolphins
journey there,
if
fellas.
the Dolphins draft a quarterback today,
I'm sweating after that one.
I'm getting out of Dodge if the Dolphins draft a quarterback. I'm leaving.
Man,
I'm out.
I'm out. He's like, I'm gone.
I'm out.
I'm out. And I'm gone.
I'm out.
All right. I got a lot of really great people in the back. Everybody stay on. I promise you, I'm going to bring you on. I'm going to try to do like a 2-minute drill with everybody. I want everybody to stay on in the back because I like everybody that's up here. So please stay on.
We got some time.
We got some really good. Spider-Man, go.
Here, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man at your service.
Anyway,
real quick. Quarterback, a draft pick on a quarterback is a waste of time given the amount of needs on our team, and we got depth issues at certain positions. Number 2, we need a blocking tight end because all Shanahan systems need dual threat tight ends that can block in line, come off the line, run routes, and create separation. Nothing that Gesicki could have done, anyways. So I think, and the third thing, I think the way the draft played out yesterday worked out beautifully for us because we have the pick of the litter at 51. I think you got there's a potential situation that you could have a John Michael Schmitz, a Dewore, you could have a Keanu Benton. You have the tight ends there. Whether it's a Michael Mayer or a Sam Laporta. Hey, you could even have Joey Porter if it fall to you. Like, you cannot move from this pick. This is a highly valued draft pick. 51, you can get it.
I will say this, Irving. If Joey Porter falls to 51,
you got to take him.
Is running to Greer and saying, if you do not draft this guy.
I would do that too. But the whole point is you don't move from 51. You're gonna get a top 50, possibly a top 30 player at 51. I think Chris Greer is cooking with fish grease right now at 51. Obviously, you can at 84, you can also have guys from the second round jump into the third round and have your pick at running back. Running back is a very deep draft if you don't go the Dalvin Cook avenue or whatever.
All right, Irving. I gotta bring on the next person, bro. I love you, man.
So, all right, thanks for having me on, man.
No, man, I apologize for cutting you short, man. I won't.
No, you're good. You're good. I know you've got a full room. I know that. All right, man. Have a good one, Jason.
Spider-Man. I like what he had to say.
All right, real quick, Willie H. He's got to go back to work. He's watching us while he's working.
What's up, guys? First of all, thanks a lot for having me on the show, Steven. I love the show. So I just wanted to address 2 things. So first and foremost, about the people talking about like Darnell Washington not catching the ball a lot. I don't know if everybody knows this, but he was stuck behind on the roster like one of the best tight ends in all of college football. I believe his name is Bowers as far as the pass catchers go. And he's going to be like a top 5 or 10 pick in the draft next year, I think. So, a lot of that stuff is, circumstantial. So when he had opportunities, though, he was really a game-breaking pass catcher at times. So his potential is huge, and he's already one of the better blockers in the league as a tight end from the day he steps on the field.
Down yet.
Exactly. Secondly, and more importantly, I think people, as Dolphins fans right now, I think we're a little too hung up on that pick number 84. For me, there's like 3 guys that are available that we can trade up for, even if it takes pick 84 as well. That's Bergeron and Mayer and Washington. If we get one of those 3 guys, that really moves the needle right now. And if we miss out on those guys and we end up taking 2 guys with our 2 picks that we have in round 2 and 3 that might not see the field at all, year 1 or year 2, to me, we have really a 2-year window right now that we really got to take advantage of. So I prefer Bergeron. I think you do what it takes to go get those guys. I'll hang up and listen. Thanks a lot for letting me speak.
Willie, I got 2 questions for you real quick. Just yes or no thing. Okay. Question 1, you would be okay with giving up your 3rd round pick and the 2nd to move up higher in the 2nd, and we would just have 1 pick today if you got one of those 3 guys that you just named?
If it's one of those 3, right, because I think our biggest hole by far is right tackle right there. I don't trust Austin Jackson or Eichenberg at all, and I think Bergeron moves the needle. We have a great offensive line with that offense that we have. We could have historically great offense to go along with an awesome Fangio defense. So,
and my second question is, where are you calling from, man?
I'm traveling right now. I'm doing some farm work out in Ohio. I'm a New Yorker, but I'm traveling.
New Yorker out in the country?
Yeah, Still funny. I just saw a giant corn snake. I'm a little freaked out, but having a good time.
Hey man, thank
Well,
you,
you didn't miss a
thank
beat,
you so
Willie.
much for listening to the show, man. It means a lot, man. Thank you so
Thanks a
much.
lot, guys. I love the show. I'll hang up and listen. Enjoy.
Appreciate it, brother. Be
Dude,
good.
Bye-bye.
if
That's
I
what it's all
saw a
about right
snake,
there.
I don't care what I'm talking about. I'd forget it, and I'd forget how to speak.
I like
I'm
Willie.
terrified.
Willie needs to come back on more often. I like that guy. He's a good guy.
That was great
All
stuff.
right. The hater, Mr. Hater himself, who'll be on with us tonight. But he's one of my best friends. I do love him. I do love him.
Let me address Willie real quick. He makes a good point with, getting the guy, but I just don't know. If they would do that, if they would move from 84 and 51 up to like 43, and that's what it's costing you, 2 for 1, I just, it's not a bad move, single error for like a single.
I don't like just having one pick today.
Exactly.
I would be upset if we just had one pick today.
If they had,
it would bother me.
If they had
Even
5
if we got a
picks,
great guy, I'd be like, there's so much other talent out here that we.
Now, if they stay at 51,
if it was Avila or Bergeron, I would be. I would be. I don't know if I'd be upset, but I would.
Here's where I'd flip out in excitement. If all of a sudden they trade 84 to like 50, so you're going 50-51, but that would probably cost them a little bit too much than they have.
Cost them next pick
next year's second, probably.
Yeah.
Or a player and a combination of it. But you need, if they could somehow get 2, this is wishful thinking, but this is how the board may be playing out. If Greer could work his magic, if they could end up with 2 top 60 players in this draft, I'm really thrilled.
All right.
Leave it at that.
See, real quick, CCRR says one good player is better than 2 scrubs. This draft class is bad.
But we're not talking about scrubs. I don't think we're talking about
brings up
scrubs
a
here.
point. All right, Lewis, go ahead, man. I know you got to get out of here. What's up, buddy?
Listen, I love all the guys that you guys are mentioning, so I'm not going to debate that. I just wanted to come up to give you a reason why it would be a good reason why to pick a quarterback would be good. And it's not Will Levis. It would be Hendon Hooker. And this is why.
You are in love with Hendon Hooker. I know you are.
You listen, before he got hurt, he had Tennessee as the #1 ranked college football team. He was the #1 quarterback for coming up for the Heisman, correct? You could get this kid, you could get him, you could redshirt him because I am high on Tua Tagovailoa. Let me be very clear. I do not want Hendon Hooker to come in here to take Tua Tagovailoa's job. I want Hendon Hooker in here because he's better than Mike White and Skylar Thompson. I see the upside in Hendon Hooker combined. And what you could do is redshirt Hendon Hooker, let him be in the meeting room with Tua Tagovailoa. Let him be in the meeting room with Mike McDaniel for a whole year. Let him learn this offense. If Tua pans out, you have your backup quarterback. If Tua doesn't pan out for whatever reason, you got a kid with amazing upside that has already a year under his belt in the system.
Let me elaborate on that a little bit. Number one, your plan is not a bad one. Okay. Here's why it just doesn't work for us. Okay. In theory, your plan is on par, right? Dolphins go get Hendon Hooker. He's an insurance policy for Tua. And he also is, if he really works out, you don't have to spend a first-round draft pick next year on a quarterback if Tua didn't work out, right? And you can put that into somebody else. Hendon Hooker is a great insurance policy and a great investment. But he is a luxury for a team that is in a position that the Dolphins aren't necessarily in. We are not one player away. We need a few positions to be filled and depth to be added at some places before we're able to go to a Hendon Hooker and be able to draft somebody of his caliber in a 3rd round. You want to be able to be able to do that, which, by the way, the Patriots for years were good at doing that, right? They would go get a quarterback who's a great investment, low risk, high upside.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Exactly. Invest in him and do it, right? But they also they also had that luxury to do that because, to be fair, and I love Greer, and I'm a Greer fan, but he has whiffed on some picks that has not given us the opportunity.
Patriots also
to do that.
would always have a slew of compensatory picks because they'd be letting free agents walk. So they had so many just extra picks to move around and do what they needed to do with.
So I mean, Lewis, I don't think that your theory is bad. I just think that we don't have the luxury of doing it.
Yeah, but we don't have the luxury to pick a guy neither and have him on the bench.
Neither does anyone.
in the second round.
But Lewis, to be fair, hold on, bud. Hold on, Lewis. To be fair, if Bergeron, Avila, and Hooker are there at 51, which, by the way, I'm assuming the only person that remotely could be there at 51 is Bergeron, and that's even a stretch. Okay. If all three of them were there at 51, I'm going Avila, and then Bergeron, and then Hooker.
I would agree. I would agree with that. But let me ask you a question. Is Bergeron the tackle that is coming off injury?
He's going to be a guard, though. Bergeron will play guard in this league.
Is he going to be ready for week 1?
I think he would.
He's a guy who played 4 years for Syracuse.
I've not heard anything other than that. Yeah.
I thought he was coming off injury, though, correct?
No,
not I don't think Bergeron's that guy.
Bergeron played all across the line in Syracuse. I mean, at least the tackle in the guard
3 years
spot.
or 4 years, right?
Yeah. He is a guy who could be a pro-level interior lineman, helping out, specializing in the run.
Absolutely. Listen, I'm not disagreeing with you. I would definitely go O-lineman as well. I was just coming up here to make the argument for Hendon Hooker because I keep hearing everybody say, well, it's a bad move.
We don't think that it's a bad argument. We just think that it's a luxury that we don't currently have.
Correct. If they had 7 picks,
your argument
maybe.
is solid. It's solid thinking. It just we don't have the luxury to do it.
But they just don't have many picks. They don't have the assets to do it.
I just don't know if the Dolphins, we put these players, because again, our opinions, we see starters. We see guys that are going to come in and fill roster spots and play.
We have to look at it like that. There's no other way.
But again, Stephen, I was one of the ones when we drafted Tyndall last year. I thought he was going to see the field. He never did.
But we're not writing the book off of Tyndall. We're not writing the book off of Tyndall. Tyndall now has a new defensive coordinator that
in Big Fangio. Let me ask you, if Tyndall comes out and balls out this year, are you going to be mad at that Tyndall pick last year? No, you're going to be like, man, they saw the talent and they got the coach to bring out the talent. And that's what they did. And that's what you'll look at. And that's where it's at with that. Look, I love you, man. I can argue with you all day. You're coming on. You're hanging out with us for 30 minutes tonight, right, Lewis? Get off mute. Lewis,
I will.
You're killing
me, you're breaking up, Stephen. I'm in a bad area. Yeah, I'm in a bad area, son, Stephen.
I love you, buddy.
I see y'all tonight, man.
There he
is, good, buddy. All right. Miami Sports Music's number one Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers. We got 3 people left. I'm actually going to shut down the link, and I'm going to take these 3 people left, and that's
we got to prepare for
these
tonight.
3 people left. All right, going with Pete. Pete, what's up, buddy?
Man, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me up, Steven. Happy Friday to you too, Jason.
We don't have a lot of time, but I want to give Jason's like, hello, Pete. Hello.
Yeah, he's sitting back. He knows what's coming, but at the end of the day, it's Friday. Let's talk football and let's just be realistic here. As a fan, we needed to look. And this is what's funny to me, right? Because all I hear is the fans talking about, well, we need to draft this tight end because he's a good blocker. And we need a blocker here and we need a good blocker there. But they're not talking about the guys that block. And that's what we need in our reality. You know what? And this is why I like Irvin, Spider-Man that came up. He hit it on the head. John Michael Smith, the center, is actually
Jingleheimer Schmidt. Sorry, go ahead.
He's the best center out of Minnesota in this entire draft. If we can land the best center in the second round at 51, protect our quarterback, we actually have that would be amazing, Steven. Think about this. We draft the best center. He comes in, he competes, he starts. Yes, Connor Williams moves to left guard. We only have one hole on that offensive line at right tackle.
Not the worst thing Pete's ever said.
And that right there is like team fixing. And look, think about this scenario. But wait, and think, because look, I'm not with all that. Will Levis draft them in the second round or Hendon Hooker. These guys don't understand who Skylar Thompson is at first. And number 2,
wants to know who's our quarterback, Pete. That's what he wants to know.
Skylar Thompson, Mike White, and Tua right now at the moment competing for that spot. Like, why are you guys even thinking about that? Again, back to what I was talking about. If we get to draft John Smith, right, the center from Minnesota, which in my opinion is the best center in this entire draft, we can move Connor Williams to left guard. But let's say it doesn't pan out that way. And let's say, Connor Williams is the starting center it gives him time to. He's a backup center, but in a scenario where Austin Jackson were to go down, or Dan Feeney at left guard were to go down, by that time mid-season, we can have a center who's already ready. We can move him to left guard and Connor Williams, and you're fixing the offensive line is what needs to be talked about. That's the reality of it. In the second round, we're drafting a lineman. It has to be that center from Minnesota. No ifs, and or buts. And it can't be a tight end. Not at this point, because I don't see not a single tight end coming out of this draft right now that's going to start over Durham Smythe. It is not happening. It's just not happening.
So basically what we've heard from you today, Pete, is you want John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, his name. Like, that's who you want to play center from Minnesota.
Schmidt, however you say his last name.
Schmidt. All right, look, man, I don't think that it's bad. I'll be honest with you. He's probably Cameron loves him. Like, thinks he's one of the best players in the draft at the interior offensive lineman. He likes
center in this draft. He's the top center.
I'm not saying you're wrong about that. And I think that he could start day one. And
even if you did say I was wrong, I'll still tell you he's the top center, Stephen.
Look, here's the thing. I don't think that you are. I think that Schmidt. It's funny because on the show, Pete, I've said, hey, look, Connor's, I get, one of the highest rated PFF centers. I get it. I understand it. But if I have a chance to upgrade my offensive line by bringing in another center like him, I don't have any issue with moving Connor back over to guard. And I know what people are going to say. Well, his penalties are going to go up. Look, I promise you all right now, if you had Schmidt as your center and moved Connor back into guard, it would not be the end of the world. It would bluster and beef up that offensive line no matter who's playing quarterback to Pete's takes. And I'm telling you right now, it would be a great move for us. And then you bring in a veteran, right, or a veteran free agent tackle with Taylor Lewan, Cam Fleming. Who else is out there? DJ Fluker. You bring. Imagine if we brought in 2 or 3 of those guys.
Once you draft this center, Steven, you don't have to necessarily bring any of those guys. You know you have your center. You know you have your left guard. You know you have your left tackle. You're just competing for that right tackle spot. And you got a plethora of guys out there. Dan the Mustache Feeney.
I don't know.
You got Austin Jackson. A plethora of that. And you got Austin Jackson. You got Dan Feeney. You got all of those guys that could compare to compete for that right tackle spot, Steven. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, I look, I got a big smile. Everybody watching knows I have Steven with a big smile because I'm not agreeing to the quarterback department. And that's what they're happy about. And
no, they're mad because you're yelling in your phone and you're so loud, and that's what he's so loud. That's what everybody's getting on. Pete, I love you, buddy. Are you gonna come watch tonight the awesome mega cast that we got?
And I hope you're dropping the link too to let us come up. The Casual Talk Dolphins.
No, we're not
Phins
doing
up,
that.
Spread Kindness Friday. Appreciate each and every single
you,
last
Pete.
one of you. Have a good day. Have a good day,
man,
Jason.
brother.
You too.
You're the man. You're the man.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Pete is interesting. He's a
That's
guy.
a good word.
He's a
We'll
fella.
use that word.
He's a fella. He's a fellow Phins fan. That's all I know.
He's interesting.
We got 2
Wrong
people left,
syllable
and I'm
on
saving one of them for last because we're doing stuff with him tonight, and I'm gonna save him for last. So just sit tight. I'm gonna bring on. I hate that I said no kickouts today because we hate the Knicks. Boo! The Knicks suck. Boo! I'm just playing.
Get ready for that butt whooping.
What's up, buddy? We're mortal
guys?
enemies for like the next week and a half, man. The Knicks are horrible. They suck. Go ahead.
First off, Jason, you know what's interesting? I was watching Draft Day. Jason looks like Tom Michaels from Draft Day.
He really does.
You say
what does he say? I'm eating my pancakes.
Yeah, I'm sitting down eating my pancakes, and then of course Sonny goes, "Come on, you pancake eating mother."
I think yesterday.
I did tweet that. I had my
Yes, you
pancakes.
did.
I went with my Kodiak cakes. I got Kodiak cakes in there.
I love it.
But anyways, you guys, a great show again, guys, as always, and God bless you and your families.
I appreciate
as
it,
well.
man. What's your thoughts, man?
I think we go. I hope we go Darnell Washington with 51.
Okay.
If not, then Jones. Dawan Jones. I keep forgetting his name from Ohio State. The right tackle. That monster. Yeah, Dawan Jones. Yeah, exactly. I like that kid. I saw highlights of this kid. This kid is a monster of a right tackle. There was a lot of good tape on him. But I mean, again, Darnell Washington, I'm sure has got to be the slam dunk pick. And let's just hope that the Dolphins know what they're doing. Unfortunately, I'm not going to watch it tonight. I'm going to watch it on my phone because the On the Game is on tonight. But
you need to be watching us on your phone, dude. We'll keep you updated with the draft the whole night. You watch us on your phone.
Playoff hockey or us on draft night? Come
on, bro. You know the
right.
answer here, Alex. You know the answer here. You watch us.
All right. Fair enough. I'm gonna keep you guys on my phone, and you guys are gonna keep me updated. All right. But I again, Will Levi.
I love you, brother. Be good, man.
All right. Take care, guys. You have a good one. Go on. Let's go next.
No, boo. Nick suck.
He got that in. He worked that in there.
Levis will not attend day 2 of the draft. Well,
it's embarrassing at this point.
All right, the last person of the day. We're doing this awesome show tonight, right? And it's absolutely amazing. And after this amazing, wonderful show that we're doing tonight is going to be post-draft coverage, and it's going to be live on the Phins tailgate. Ladies and gentlemen, El Capitan.
What is up? What it is? What it do?
What's
going
up, baby?
on, fellas? Hey,
What's going on, man?
Jason? What's up, Steven? How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
So I think we sit pretty good right now at 51. There's quite a bit of talent that could fall to us. My question, guys, is maybe we trade back a little bit. If there's 4 or 5 of these guys that I got on this list, we could slide a little bit back. Now, look, I would run up with my Washington card and be happy if he's there. But if he's also there and we're looking at Trenton Simpson's still there, we're looking at Steve Avila's still there, and Sam Laporta's still there, I think they could risk dropping back a little bit, maybe 4 or 5 picks, and still getting some value, because I'm still hoping that they target a running back later in the draft. Problem is, I don't want to really make that 3rd round pick a running back, because I just don't feel like it's going to be there for the value pick. I would rather grab somebody like the kid out of Syracuse or something like that in the 4th round. But
we got to get into the 4th round. Yeah, if we got to pick that up. Exactly.
That's right.
Well,
the only way I'm finding a 4th.
Maybe that's where money and Cedric Wilson come into a trade, and you buy your draft pick.
Man, bro, I literally said the same thing. Maybe I'll tell you what, if we're able to move up in the 2nd round with the Cedric Wilson trade and not lose any capital, I would dig that as well. It's a little bit of something with something like that, I think.
I would literally, I agree with you, El Capitan there. And I would think that would be heavy efforts. Like if you're looking at, let's say you want to call Washington, you want to call Green Bay to get ahead of, the Patriots at 45, maybe a player and then moving up a couple of picks, that'll do it. But I do not want to lose capital. I want to get another bit of capital, because then that could be flipped into a player, more capital, a free agent running back in a month, what have you. But I like the way you're thinking there.
Yeah, I think there's
hold on real quick.
Movement coming.
Alex says Will Levis will go to Tennessee. I think that's a very good prediction because they want out of the Tannehill situation. Joey Porter's going to Pittsburgh, and he doesn't think Cook will be a Miami Dolphin. I disagree with that last part. I do think he will be, but neither here or there. Go ahead.
DeAndre Swift's still available too. You know, that's something.
Yeah,
to
we
add.
talked about that earlier. I think it's interesting. I think it'll make the market interesting for the Cook situation too. But
yeah, a little bit of leverage for us.
Ultimately, it might help us. But ultimately, I don't think we're still gonna. I think the Dolphins know and Minnesota knows how this is gonna work out.
When you measure the two, just think all the money obligations come with Cook, but also there's the risk obligations with Swift because he's had some of the injuries. But where does our GM usually err on the side of caution?
He goes with low risk, high reward.
That's right, and
he goes with injury prone guys. We know that.
And not only that, but think about it: you get Cook and you trade for him. Now you have high risk, potential high reward because of the money you're going to have to be attached with on that. So, I mean, if the Dolphins somehow can leak that they're in talks with the Lions for Swift and get them to.
Oh my God!
What?
Antonio Brown just broke the internet.
Oh,
what did he do? What did he do? Coming back to where?
Stop it.
He is.
Where's
Look,
he go-
I'm
where's-
about to share the screen.
Where's he going?
That's not internet breakable.
Excited to return to Ravens flock this year.
Oh God! Wow.
Odell Beckham Jr., Zay Flowers, and Antonio Brown, and Mark Andrews. I ain't gonna lie,
it's going to be a show at least. At least it's going to be a show.
I need Hard Knocks to be in Baltimore this year if it's not going to be us. Okay?
I'm saying, bro, I would rather it be at them because I want to see that locker room brawl live. I want to see that locker room fight between Brown and Beckham.
I'm sure Steve Bisciotti, who's the owner of the Ravens, and Eric DeCosta, the GM, are smoking a cigar and going, all right, Lamar, what do you have to say now?
Yeah.
They've made him the highest paid player. They've given him weapons. It's on you, good sir. You told us this is what you need. We have given it to you. Make it happen.
Listen, if that team starts clicking, it's going to be a dangerous team. So I personally, I feel like both
they're a
those
Super
wide
Bowl contender.
receivers,
They're a straight Super Bowl contender. I don't care what anybody says.
100%, especially because I think Lamar is going to try to go for the big time now that he's got the big time money.
I'll be honest with you, he's got to stay out of trouble though, right? Antonio Brown, and I don't know if he's going to be able to do that.
Good luck with that. I say just let him be a troublemaker as long as it doesn't get you in a jailhouse.
We're not going there.
That's it. You can do you, boo boo.
No more trips to Dubai for him, okay? No more trips to Dubai at all.
Why not? He can't get arrested in America in Dubai.
America.
Yeah.
But
he can do all his shenanigans across the pond.
Man,
so with this third round pick, if say we really knock it out of the park, we get Darnell Washington this second round, find ourselves trading back to the end of the third round. Are the Dolphins going to break the internet if Hooker is there and pick him?
They're going to break my spirit.
I mean, listen, he has a lot of upside.
Cap. Here we go. There is a world where the Dolphins do get Hooker. I know I said there wasn't. Here's a world. If the Dolphins have 3 third-round picks and Hooker is available in the third round, in the second or third of those picks, then yes, I could see the Dolphins getting Hendon Hooker. Being as he won't be available in the third round, being as we're probably not going to have 3 third-round picks, I just don't ever see it happening.
Does Hendon Hooker go before Will Levis?
I would not be surprised.
Now, that's intriguing. Now that I could see, because that's a draft story.
And I'm telling you, this third pick that Detroit has, I'm telling you, I feel in my bones.
You want me to? What if I blow the minds right now?
Huh?
What if I blow the minds right now? What if the Colts take Levis and do what the Washington Redskins did with RG3?
Can't say.
I like that.
Could you imagine?
Watch out!
Could you imagine if they did that?
Watch out!
I could see Tennessee taking Hendon Hooker, honestly.
I mean, they want to get out of the Tannehill situation. I've already said that. Like I'm actually surprised they didn't get Levis. And I think they're foaming out the mouth, hoping that Hem or Hendon Hooker's there for them in the second.
You got the Raiders who can go quarterback. You got the Saints.
They're not going quarterback now that they have. They're
Seattle.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Seattle could go.
They just paid a lot of money to Geno. They're not going quarterback.
That's the perfect time to get one. An old aging quarterback like Geno. You get a young guy.
The Raiders are going to get Hooker.
No, nope. I don't believe that for a minute at all.
I can see it. I can see him going to Seattle.
Robert Trainer said there's already an arrest warrant for Antonio Brown.
A preemptive arrest warrant.
That man.
He's got a notice to appear already, bro.
Oh, he's got a notice to appear in court already. Hey, last thing that I want to discuss before we jump off here. Last night, when the draft opened up, there was some news that broke out. And I think us Dolphin fans, we didn't talk about it at all today, and we should have. Joint statement from the Philadelphia Eagles and Arizona Cardinals. Okay. This was released. The Arizona Cardinals and Philadelphia Eagles have agreed on a settlement of an issue concerning an instance of impermissible contact by Arizona during its head coaching search this past January. The Cardinals self-reported to the National Football League that GM Monty Ossenfort had a phone conversation with then Eagles defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon in the days following the NFC Championship game, a period during which contact is not permitted under the league's anti-tampering policy. To resolve the matter between the two clubs, the Cardinals and Eagles have agreed to swap third-round picks in the 2023 NFL Draft, and the Cardinals received Philadelphia's fifth-round selection in 2024.
Well, Steven, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned it. I'm glad that you mentioned this because breaking news, I'm here to clear things up with the Brady and us losing picks. We are now going to send a fifth-round pick next year to the Bucks to past clear up the situation that happened, and now the NFL is going to have to owe us a first and a third next year. So I'm rewriting history. I'm gonna fix it. Everything's been cleared up. I'm waiting on the phone call now, and we're gonna get it all back. So apparently that's what you can do. Collusion? Am I hearing collusion?
Bro, are you kidding me? The rules aren't the same for everybody? What is this madness? Why did the Dolphins get to the short end of the stick? Two things. I want you all to know this. I said on my show, when we got in trouble for it, I said everybody does this. Like, this is nothing new. He's not doing anything out of the ordinary. This happens all the time. The Dolphins just got caught, okay? Now, here's two things that people are going to say to this. First thing is they're going to say, well, the Arizona Cardinals reported themselves. BS. They didn't report themselves. They found out they were going to get in trouble and said, hey, we're just going to go ahead and tell on ourselves real quick. That way we can.
They're dry snitching. They're dry snitching.
They're dry snitching on themselves, cuz.
That's right.
That's exactly what they did. And then based on that, the NFL said, well, you two work it out together. That's such BS, man. Why didn't we get that same opportunity to work it out with them?
Let me tell you the real reason why. Because the NFL is prejudiced against our owner. They're mad for way back in the day in the USFL BS stuff when he was an owner of, what was he an owner of?
Stephen Ross was an owner in the USFL back in the day?
Yep, and he in the 80s, and it pushed contracts, it pushed player control back when Elway got drafted.
Got a grudge like that against Stephen Ross?
100. Think of all the billionaires.
I don't know if it's that, but it's an interesting theory nonetheless, though.
I'm telling you that, and they have a thing. They're anti-Semites apparently. So there's a little bit of that coming on.
Careful.
Just saying, they got to be careful. That he is a marginalized human. So, and I feel some kind of way as a Dolphins fan. I don't know what else it could be, Jason. What else could it be?
Stir the pot at the end of the show.
What else could it be?
Look, Cap, here's what I think. H says conspiracy from the TGF crew. Shoe fits.
Yeah, listen. If you ain't looking at it at every angle, if you ain't looking at how they're getting played or how to play the game, then you're getting played, bro. I ain't looking for the angles. You're getting played.
Here's what I think. All right, this is my personal opinion of it. I think it's BS that we didn't get the opportunity to do it, and I think the Dolphins should publicly do whatever. I don't know what they can do, but they should be able to go to an arbitrator or file. I don't know if an injunction is the right word. I don't know if it would be in a court, but there should be some statute for them to go back and say, hold up, you didn't give us this as an opportunity, and we had such a such a worse punishment for doing the same exact thing. This is ridiculous.
I don't know. It kind of was a little different. We were meeting them on a secret yacht boat somewhere. It's a little different.
I think the ship has sailed on this conversation. And if we can get it back on track, that would be great.
Sarni's dying inside.
Sarni can't handle it. I take Sarni far off the beaten path, and I can see the uncomfortability.
You took Sarni to another level, Cap. He thought Pete was going to do it today. Nope, it was
That's
you,
right.
Cap.
That's right. Pete who? How about that? Pete who?
I just lost some life here. I just literally
That's
lost.
right,
I lost about a month. I lost about a month.
That's a month you didn't need. It was the month in the backside. It sucks
you
anyhow.
didn't
You didn't need it, bro. It's the terrible month of the nonsense.
I'm doing a show, man.
I feel it. I feel it.
You feel it getting pulled right out. Listen, I'm out of here, boys. I'll see you guys later.
I love you, brother. Be
Catch
good,
your
man.
breath, buddy. Catch your breath, man. I'll talk to you guys later.
I'm good. Oh my God.
Are you okay?
I'm okay. I'll be all right. Hey, worst things have happened. Worst things have happened. But
they have.
Oh boy.
So just so you know, they're coming at the end of tonight. The Phins Tailgate Crew's coming at the end of tonight.
I can't deal with more conspiracy.
We moved them to the back. We said, get back there. You guys are finishing last with that. No, they're going to do the segue over.
El Capitan watches highlights on the Zapruder film. Grainy
and everything. I have to admit, I don't agree with El Cap's. El Capitan's comments in no way, shape, or form reflect the opinions or feelings of Miami sports music, and or Jason Sarni, okay, or Stephen Daniels. They in no way, shape, or form reflect. And
I'm never the kind of guy on like the Twitter bio to say like my opinions are my own.
My opinions are my own.
Yeah, I hate to break it to everyone, but everyone's opinions are their own opinions. Just letting everyone know that. But I might have to just put that. My other people's opinions are not mine.
That's where you go. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
All right, man. This was a great show today. Over 200 people for most of the show, Jason.
Then we started talking about conspiracy theories, and then the wheels fell off.
The wheels fell off after that. The wheels fell off.
It's okay.
They went all off. Dude, it was great today. Over 120 likes, over 142 people still watching. If you like today's show, donate to the channel, help the channel grow, hit the like button, sign up to become a member today. Can we get 3? Matter of fact, where's the, let me pull this up because I want to make sure I give everybody the opportunity to, here we go. I love it when I got to do 2 things at the same time. If you guys want to sign up and become a member today, there are plenty of seats waiting at the table for you. Here's the link. I put it in the chat. Let's get 3 new members to the channel right now. 3 new members. All right. Hit the like button. Jason, final thought of the day, man.
Wow. Final thought. I got a lot of thoughts today and the day ain't over, but I think that the Dolphins are going to make a move.
They are.
Whether it's up or down. I'll be able to clarify that tonight when we see those top 15 picks. If 5 tight ends are going, you know what? Stick around, get the best player available. But if there's going to be a number of those guys around, some top end names on the line go, I think
going back to 16 to 65. That's the sweet spot. Pick up a fourth, and then we're cooking.
Cooking with peanut oil.
Or cooking with
peanut oil.
With
unless you're allergic to peanuts, then you can't have anything that we're cooking because we're cooking with peanut oil. And you
it's
have
a very
peanut
2023 situation.
It was. It is. Want to remind you all tonight, 7 p.m. Be there or be square. NFL draft live stream. Phins tailgate. They're on at the end, just so y'all know. Those crazy people. TD Phins talk. Doug Lee Do-Wrong. We're going to be cross-streaming with Doug Lee Do-Wrong for about 15 minutes. That's going to be fun. The Smoke Show. Nikki Smokes is going to get on for a little bit. Nando talk. Obviously, Jason Sarney's going to co-host with me along with my man Cameron954. Go Time's going to be up here from across the pond. Dolphins United. Fanatic Fury. Larry K there. Excited about him coming on and talking with him. Phins Nation with Lewis Sung. I'm talking about 5 Reasons Sports in the building. Locked On Canes, Alex Dono. Dolphins talk. I got both Big E and Mike O in the building. Phins Take with CB83. Dolph Freaky, 305 Sports Babe, Miss Phins, and even some of the new people that I got coming on the Phins Sports Network, Miami Fan Talk Network, and Dolphins Gang. And hopefully we can get on Paul Pickett and maybe a couple of other people on that list. Yes, that is true. So, and just to remind everybody why we're doing this, I put it out there for 95% of the content creators out there, people that want inclusion and want to be look, we're all family here. Everybody has something to offer. You might not like somebody's channel or you might not like their takes, but that doesn't mean that they have something to offer within the community. And what we want to do is give the community a voice. And so that's what we decided to do tonight is, hey, man, there's some people that you guys might not know about. And listen to them for 15, 30 minutes. Hang out, hear them talk. We're going to go through each pick tonight. They're going to hang out, and you're going to get a little bit of all flavors. Tonight is you're going to get to sample a little bit of almost every single Miami Dolphins content creator tonight. And what we are about is inclusion, and we are about, bringing the family together. And that's what we want to do. And we're all about it, man. We are all about it. Hit the like button. If you see it, if you like it, and tonight's going to be fun. I hope to see you back at 7 p.m. tonight. Be on the lookout. I'm going to probably make a video here. That'll be good. Coming up here, hopefully in the next, 20 or 30 minutes, maybe an hour and a half. I don't know. I got my kids here now. I totally forgot there was a half day of school today. It's going to be crazy. You guys are the best. You guys are absolutely the best. And I had so much fun hanging out with you today. I hope you enjoyed it too. Seriously, I hope you did. It was a lot of fun. Jason, tell them, baby. Tell them.
Miami Sports Music tonight. Place to be for day 2. 7 p.m. We got the whole crew.
It's going to be fun, man. I hope to see you there. I hope you guys enjoy it. DDG says Fin Community Buffet. I like that. I like it, man. Be good, man. We'll see y'all tonight. Another one. See you in a couple of hours, cuz.
Do it.
Let's go. Love y'all. Peace.
Time to grind, time to shine. To a time. My intuition told me this. To trust the coach, he holds a gift. He knowing when to go with fits. So he knowing when to switch.